The fate of Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan now rests in the hands of a federal grand jury, which was impaneled today in Milwaukee to determine whether to proceed with federal charges against her in connection with an incident in which she allegedly, read absolutely, helped shuttle a criminal illegal alien out of her courtroom through jury room doors and away from ICE agents with a valid warrant. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Dan O'Donnell Show. That story plus a debate on whether Milwaukee and Dane and other, shall we say, hesitant sheriff's offices should be required to cooperate with ICE. And in that hearing, a reference to yours truly and the story we broke a week or so ago about an illegal immigrant who committed a heinous crime, nearly pistol whipping a man to death at an indoor soccer game, who took off to Texas, was extradited back to Wisconsin, released from custody, and the Dane County Sheriff's Office did little to nothing to help with his recapture. All that and much, much more on this Tuesday edition, including the unsung hero of the day and daily Trump date, the president in Saudi Arabia today, attending a state dinner, as well as giving one of the finest speeches of his entire presidency. Both terms, I'm not kidding. We'll get to that in the 4 o'clock hour. In the 5 o'clock hour, it's commencement season at the University of Wisconsin system. Which school should be expected based on its provost opening up graduation with a land acknowledgement? Which school should be expected to very soon close up shop and give all of its land back to the Native Americans? Find out in the 5 o'clock hour. Before we get to any of that, plus the unhinged liberal of the day at the end of this hour, the Spring Green Cash Contest word of this hour is fun. F-U-N, fun. You have got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword fun. If your entry is picked at random, you will have a lot of fun with $1,000 in your pocket, courtesy of us. We have already had a number of winners on this program, and we would very much like the next one to be you. So please enter the word fun and get yourself entered into this nationwide contest. You want to join the Dan O'Donnell Show? Our phone lines are always open. We never lock them up. I realize I don't always take a whole lot of phone calls. Sometimes we will do specific caller-led segments, but we do a lot of investigative reporting, a lot of updates on stories that we break. Not a lot of time for calls, but I am always, and I mean always, looking to work in text. So the adventknows.com talk and text line is open as well. 414-799-1130. You want to weigh in on something? Hear your text read on the air. Just shoot me one, or you can reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. My email address, dod@iheartmedia.com. Follow me on socials at Dan O'Donnell Show everywhere. Subscribe to the podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcasts. Although Judge Dugan was charged some time ago after we first broke the story of what she did, allegedly, in her courtroom on Good Friday, there is another step. The Constitution will oft require that a grand jury be impaneled. And the purpose of a grand jury, which is usually comprised of 16 to 23 people, comprised exactly as you would a regular trial jury, just from voter rolls or things like that. They're not screened for potential biases, but rather just if you're eligible based on your status as a felon, your proficiency in the language, ironically, whether or not you're an illegal immigrant. And the grand jury will get to work once it's impaneled. And as I first reported this morning, it was impaneled today, meaning a grand jury is now sitting hearing the evidence against Judge Dugan. They will determine whether there's probable cause to proceed with the case against her. And the idea here is that citizens act as a shield against unfounded and oppressive prosecution. And they help ensure that charges against people are not brought with insufficient evidence. Now, this, if the jury determines that a trial can proceed, is the final step before that federal trial would begin. Discovery, federal jury selection. First, it's got to be on the calendar, things like that. But first, the grand jury, which is impaneled and could issue an indictment as early as today. Now, these proceedings are supposed to be secret. However, you're probably not going to stop me from hearing something like this is happening, which I did before most of the rest. In fact, all of the rest of the media. I didn't want to call it an exclusive story that I broke on Twitter and Facebook this morning, but it was. I mean, everybody was going to get it. I happened to hear that the grand jury was impaneled based on my many sources. It is possible, and I've been trying to follow on social media whether or not, or just I've been checking my phone for my sources who will tell me if she's been indicted. It is possible that the grand jury works for a couple of days. Usually it doesn't take too long. There is an old saying in federal law that you can get a grand jury to indict a ham sandwich because prosecutors are, you basically don't get an opportunity to present much of a defense. The prosecution just presents its case. And the case is usually pretty strong. And the case against Hannah Dugan is airtight. According to that criminal complaint against her, when ICE agents presented their warrant for the arrest of Eduardo Flores Ruiz, who isn't some innocent Maryland father. And if you notice, that story was dropped like a hot potato once the video of his arrest for rather obvious human smuggling came to light. Eduardo Ruiz Flores is a very violent man. He beat up a guy during some sort of dispute at a night spot and then beat up a woman who tried to intervene. He's been charged with aggravated battery, domestic violence enhancer, and he faces very serious charges. He's also previously, I believe he was previously deported back in 2013. When ICE agents who knew that Flores Ruiz was going to be in Dugan's courtroom on Good Friday, I believe that was April 18th, Dugan sent them away to the chief judge's office for permission to arrest him outside her courtroom. Now, while they were gone, and this is directly from the criminal complaint, defense counsel and Flores Ruiz then walked toward each other and toward the public courtroom exit. The courtroom deputy then saw Judge Dugan get up and heard Judge Dugan say something like, "Wait, come with me." Despite having been advised of the administrative warrant for the arrest of Flores Ruiz, Judge Dugan then escorted Flores Ruiz and his counsel out of the courtroom through the jury door, which leads to a non-public area of the courthouse. The obvious intent was to get Flores Ruiz and his attorney out without the ICE agents knowing that he had left. Now, once he was outside, Flores Ruiz did what most criminals do when they think they can make a break for it. He made a break for it. He tried to run away. He was quickly chased down and arrested. Now, the whole reason that ICE agents come to the Milwaukee County Courthouse or come to courthouses generally is to avoid situations like that. The defendant or the target of the deportation. And remember, folks, please always keep this in mind. These are not your moms and dads who came here with their families for a better life. These are hardened criminals that the Trump administration is going after. It's not the cleaning lady. It's a guy who beat the hell out of the cleaning lady. They do this because these are dangerous people who could potentially have weapons. They do it in courthouses because they have to be screened for weapons upon entry to the courthouse. They know they're not going to be armed, and they try to do it in the courthouse because they have backup in the form of a bailiff. There won't be a crowd that can gather, and there won't be the opportunity for people to do what lefties always want to do, and that's interfere with the lawful administration of justice. Dugan did so as well. She faces 2 charges, and the evidence is overwhelming on both. The first charge that the grand jury is now deliberating on is obstruction of proceedings. This prohibits obstructing or impeding the due and proper administration of the law before any department or agency of the United States. Therefore, the question that needs to be asked is, was the service of this ICE warrant the proper administration of the law? Was the warrant valid? Yes, it was. Did Dugan obstruct or impede that service of the warrant by sending the arresting officer away, and then while he was gone, shuttling the subject of their warrant away through the back door to help him escape? She did. Multiple witnesses actually confirmed that she did. She's guilty of this statute, folks, of its violation. She is subject to a maximum sentence of 5 years in federal prison. The evidence is overwhelming of her guilt on this one. Now, she's also charged with a second federal crime called concealing a person from arrest. It is illegal under federal law to harbor or conceal someone for whom a warrant has been issued after knowledge of the fact that a warrant has been issued. In other words, did Dugan know that there was a warrant for Flores Ruiz's arrest? She did. Did she then harbor or conceal him from arrest when she distracted the arresting officers and then helped him escape through the jury room door? She most certainly did. She's therefore guilty of this crime as well and faces an additional maximum sentence of a year in federal prison. The grand jury needs to indict this ham sandwich, and I believe that it will. The evidence here is just so overwhelming that unless there is something seriously wrong with the U.S. Attorney's Office in Milwaukee and seriously wrong with the grand jury selection and the people that they impaneled, who are so biased in this case that they don't believe that there was probable cause based on multiple witnesses who all saw this happen. Dugan herself, incidentally, tried to lie in an email to all of her colleagues on the Milwaukee County bench saying, no, I never saw a warrant. She sure did. Witnesses said they presented a warrant. They showed the warrant. She was aware that a warrant existed, that there was a valid warrant. She didn't think it was valid, however, because it didn't come from a judge. That's irrelevant. Under the Immigration Act of 1996, deportations are within the sole discretion of the president and the secretary of state. That's it. And nowhere in federal law does it permit a state judge to say, well, I don't find this warrant to be valid, ergo, I am not going to follow it. I'm not going to turn over the person who is in effectively my custody. And also, I am going to do everything I can to help this person get away. And it's not just that Hannah Dugan violated federal law by doing so. It is also very likely that she violated state law by helping a known criminal escape proper law administration and proper law enforcement action. She let him get away, even though there were law enforcement agents with a valid warrant who said, we need to take him into custody. Naturally, the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office will never file charges. The State Department of Justice will never file charges. And that's why it is so important, not only that charges were filed in this case, but that the grand jury indict and then a federal jury convict. Because, as the libs are so fond of saying, no one is above the law. Coming up next on the Dan O'Donnell Show, the hilarious illegal immigration-related signs that are being handed out in Bayview.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for my friends at the Lynch family of dealerships. And one of my favorite things about Lynch is they give back to the communities they do business in. And this month, they're honoring our military personnel. For the month of May, it's Military Appreciation Month at Lynch. Members of the military receive $1,000 off all eligible new cars. And with over 700 new vehicles in stock, Lynch likely has the vehicle you're looking for all ready to go. And every vehicle comes with Lynch Protected. It covers your tires, windshield, and paint for 1 year and keeps your vehicle looking like new. Financing as low as 0%. Also available this month, Military Appreciation Month, at your favorite Lynch location in Burlington, Kenosha, West Bend, or one of their 3 rooftops in Mukwonago. Military Appreciation Month with $1,000 off new vehicles and financing as low as 0% at the Lynch family of dealerships. Visit shoplynch.com.
Attorney Tom Grieve here for Divergent Family Law. You really believed your paths were one and the same until death do you part. Your best interest was their best interest. Increasingly, it's clear you are on divergent paths, having grown apart in interests, goals, even morality. Having made it through the latest battery of holidays, you're now resolved to make your own way. Divergent Family Law is experienced attorneys who will make sure your path is not the lesser of two traversed as you go separate ways. Wisconsin statutes have no provisions for love, hate, or anger. Divorce is the disassembly of a legal contract, the division of assets, and the legal assignment of responsibility for property that cannot be physically divided. No judge or parent can split children in two, physically or emotionally. Family law is experiential. With Divergent Family Law, the outcome is predictable. Our attorneys can tell you up front with considerable accuracy the details of your divorce decree because we know Wisconsin family law. We know the adjudicators and we know your rights. Divergent Family Law, separate and equal or better. DivergentFamilyLaw.com.
Your home is your sanctuary, and the first step to peace of mind is controlling your power. Get a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from the #1 Generac dealer, Generator Supercenter. Go to GeneratorSupercenterofLakeCountry.com.
I'm defense attorney Tom Grieve. Never drive drunk. If you do, don't believe police officers who tell you it's just a ticket and a 6-month suspension. Pay it and put this behind you. You'll likely have to install an ignition interlock device to blow into before starting your car. Protects the public and shames you with your friends and family. Your license will be revoked. You can go to jail for 1 year if caught driving revoked. Even if you swear you did never drive revoked, most people do. With a to and from work permit, one snowstorm, long meeting, or traffic jam, and you're driving revoked. An officer runs your plate while driving, and you're in even more serious trouble. You'll participate in alcohol and drug assessments, a driver's safety plan, and alcohol classes. You could even lose your job. Prosecutors will tenaciously prosecute you without empathy, regardless of your clean driving record. Your first DUI conviction never disappears from your record. Just a ticket and 6 months suspension, and a Scarlet A for life. Charged with an OWI, your best chance is to call my team of award-winning former state prosecutors. You are only guilty if you are convicted. GrieveLaw.com.
Infinity's app shows precise costs of your new roof, providing peace of mind.
Infinity costs less, and the price we quote is surprise-free.
Because we pay less, you pay less. Warranted, guaranteed quality.
Installing peace of mind. InfinityRoofing.com.
Attention well pump owners, do you have enough water pressure for your needs? Can you run 2 faucets at once without a problem? If you answered no to either of these questions, talk to an S&K Pump and Plumbing professional about a well pump checkout before you're left high and dry. They feature a full line of well pump equipment. Contact them at 262-784-HELP or SNKPump.com.
When it comes to water, one call does it all. SNK Pump and Plumbing.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
As Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan faces a federal grand jury right now, Democrat/Socialist Assembly member Ryan Clancy, who represents the Milwaukee Bayview neighborhood, is out with postcard-sized stickers that people can stick in the windows of their homes or businesses that say, private, not open to the public. No entry without a judicial warrant signed by a judge or an explicit invitation from the property owner or their designee. At the bottom, he, of course, has his own little logo, Ryan Clancy, and it says, paid for by Clancy for Assembly. And he would like you to know that he has several of these that he can drop off to an address you comment with in the Buy Nothing Bayview Facebook group, or DM to me. I don't do pickups, don't ask. If you don't feel comfortable sharing your location, I can perhaps indicate a coffee shop I'll hang at with a pile to hand out. Stay safe, Bayview. And actually, Bayview, I would not feel safe inviting Ryan Clancy into my home either. So maybe you're smart meeting him at a coffee shop. Again, it does not work like this. An administrative warrant from ICE is a valid warrant. What these members of the Democrat Party, assembly members, state senators, congressional representatives, the governor of Wisconsin, we broke this story about his thoroughly illegal guidance to state employees to do their best to do exactly what Hannah Dugan did and to impede an ongoing investigation and to obstruct federal agents in the valid service of a warrant. You don't just get to say, I need that warrant signed by a judge. If you are obstructing someone, if you are actively trying to hide someone who is the subject of a valid administrative warrant, it is just as valid as a judicial warrant. I don't think people quite get this through their heads. Just because you don't like the agency doesn't negate their powers under federal law. You want someone to blame for this? Blame Bill Clinton. He's the one who signed the Immigration Act of 1996. The executive branch has a whole lot of power, and its designee, ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also has a great deal of power to round up and deport people who are violating the law. Now, as we'll see in the next segment, as the state Senate today debated in committee a bill that would force sheriff's offices to comply and to not actively obstruct ICE investigations, there is this fiction that has arisen. Someone who may rival Ryan Clancy for, shall we say, dimmest bulb in the state legislature. He also represents the Milwaukee area. State Senator Chris Larson. Oh, his smug face after he thought he delivered just an incredible line that is thoroughly, completely false. And that is that illegal immigrants commit crimes at a lower rate than do American citizens. It is a myth, and we will bust it and bust the holy heck out of it. Coming up next when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns. Stay tuned.
Spring means that green is busting out everywhere, including your wallet. If you play the nationwide Spring Green Cash Contest on News Talk 1130 WISN 9 times each weekday, listen for the keyword, enter it at newstalk1130.com, and you might snag the hourly prize of $1,000.
The Spring Green Cash Contest is presented by ARR Recycling. Recycling pays. Bring your copper, brass, lead, steel, or aluminum to their West Dallas or Waukesha locations and get cash. ARR Recycling since 1938.
Frondel Max Vextelando.
Why are you dressed like a wizard?
Because the Brooklyn Cabinet at Penny Mustard reminds me of the hallowed halls of a faraway magical campus.
That curved top is pretty enchanting.
Curvalosa Wizamundo.
And with all the configurable options, you get to work your magic.
Configurabulus Maximus.
The bewitching Brooklyn Cabinet. American-made with locally sourced lumber and built to last for generations. Starting at $43.78 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
We didn't write the headline. The Wall Street Journal did. The days of set and forget investing just ended for many Americans. Economic uncertainty and global unrest. It's a wake-up call. Standard financial advice is to avoid making rash decisions during market turmoil. But retirement planning isn't a set it and forget it process anymore. That's where Annex Wealth Management comes in. As fee-only fiduciaries, we craft personalized plans that adapt as needed. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Head to annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button.
Our home sure feels empty now that the kids are gone. Maybe it's time to start thinking about a new home in a size that fits our life. With Belinsky Condos, we'll get peace of mind without sacrificing amenities. Plus, accessibility features like the no-step garage entry and wide hallways allow us to live comfortably today and 10 years from now. Visit Belinsky.com to learn more.
People should be judged for the content of their character, not the straightness of their teeth.
I'm Mila. The gracious, caring staff at Ross Dental makes straight teeth convenient.
Bo, Mila's big brother here. High school social pressure can make students want to be invisible. Ross Dental straight teeth are confidence building.
With Ross Dental straight teeth, you and your children will smile like you just don't care because you don't.
Dr. Ross did imaging and ordered virtually invisible plastic trays that fit over our teeth, shifting them ever so slightly.
Every 5 days or so, we start new trays that shift teeth a little more.
Unlike conventional braces, we can take the trays off to eat and brush our teeth, and they cost less.
A bonus for me is clicking in my jaw stopped.
Dr. Ross is a great dentist, and Dad says Ross Dental is the best deal.
Family dentistry, cosmetic whitening, Ross Dental straight smiles, and full sedation dentistry for anxious patients needing substantial restoration. Our mission, your comfort, health, and confidence. Smile like you just don't care, because you don't. RossDentalWI.com.
Accurate Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Flimsy, feeble, flaccid. That's how you can describe most pre-approval letters these days, because most banks still issue pre-approval letters without actually verifying your income, employment, or down payment. That's the exact opposite of an Accurate, rock-solid, fully verified and guaranteed pre-approval, where we put a $2,000 guarantee behind the fact the seller can actually rely on the terms of your pre-approval and offer. With Accunet, there's also a possibility of issuing a property-specific pre-approval with as little as a 10% down payment that includes the magic words, no appraisal required. That's right, Accunet may be able to issue your pre-approval without needing an appraisal. That's the kind of certainty that can help a seller say yes to your offer. Sure, you can try competing with a flimsy bank pre-approval, or you can click on the blue button at Accunet.com and get started with the pre-approval listing agents and sellers recognized as the best in the business. That's ACCUNET.com.
Restoring your home or business to its natural beauty is our only business. We are Wisconsin's most trusted carpet cleaner for over 75 years.
Edelman Carpet, Furniture, and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
Homeowners across Wisconsin trust WeatherPro Exteriors for the best in roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Voted Milwaukee's 2024 top choice. We are proud to deliver the highest quality and service. Right now, get $1,000 off a full roof replacement, plus a $200 Quick Trip gift card. Your home is your biggest investment. Make sure it's protected with top quality roofing, siding, windows, and doors built to last. Visit weatherproexteriors.com today.
Brighten your basement and boost safety with Baynex Egress Windows. One-day egress window installs, no subcontractors, a 4-year labor warranty, and free estimates. Visit BAYNICKS.com today.
Made for This Mountain exists to empower listeners to rise above their struggles and face the mountain in front of them. So during Mental Health Awareness Month, focus on your emotional well-being. Tune into the podcast and climb that mountain.
You will never be able to change or grow through the thing that you refuse to identify. The thing that you refuse to say, hey, this is my mountain. This is the struggle.
Listen to Made for This Mountain on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Made for This Mountain. WISN.
Big taxers, big spenders, political cronies, global warming alarmists, charlatans, liars, scam artists, and feeders at the public trough. The threats to your happiness are many, but that's where we can help. News Talk 1130 WISN. Our truth shall keep you free.
Senate Bill 57 and Assembly Bill 24 in the Wisconsin legislature both went before a Senate committee today, and they force Milwaukee County Sheriff's offices to cooperate with federal immigration authorities, specifically ICE. Sheriffs would also be required to detain certain undocumented immigrants, aka illegal aliens, who commit crimes. If a county doesn't comply with the bill's requirements, it could face a 15% reduction in its state shared revenue payments, and counties would need to certify each year that they are in fact following the law. What does it come to that we actually need to force sheriffs departments under penalty of a loss of funding to follow federal law? Now, one case that drew this into sharp relief for the bill's two sponsors and lead authors, State Senator Julian Bradley and Assembly Member Jim Pivovarchuk, was a story that we broke here on the Dan O'Donnell Show about a week and a half ago. Senator Bradley gave us a nice shout out during his opening remarks at the hearing today.
Recently, WISN's Dan O'Donnell broke the story of Wilmar Ray Carbacus Polo. According to O'Donnell's report, this gentleman pistol whipped and nearly killed a man in a dispute while in our country illegally. He fled to Texas, but was captured and extradited to Dane County and released on bond. When ICE asked the Dane County Sheriff's Office for his GPS coordinates, the Sheriff's Office refused.
Yeah, they did. And they still haven't given me a good reason as to why. Bradley also outlined what exactly his bill and Pivovarchuk's bill would do.
We're here today because those who commit crimes must be held accountable. This proposal would ensure that Wisconsin sheriff's offices work with federal immigration officials so individuals in the country illegally who commit felonies don't get the chance to harm others. SB 57 requires law enforcement to ask all individuals detained for a felony, and I want to repeat that, all individuals detained for a felony if they are lawfully present here in the United States. The bill also requires sheriffs to comply with detainers' administrative warrants received from the Federal Department of Homeland Security regarding individuals held in county jail for criminal offense. Finally, it requires the Wisconsin Department of Justice to report to the legislature on the crimes committed by those who aren't lawfully present.
It's pretty simple, right? How could anybody be opposed to this? When ICE makes a request of a local law enforcement agency, the local law enforcement agency helps out a federal law enforcement agency. When we had this big fire on Sunday morning, on Mother's Day, that has now killed 6 people. Have they confirmed? I believe they confirmed a 6th person has died. And by the way, Chief Aaron Lipsky today at a press conference said they still can't rule out the possibility that this is intentionally set. I'm telling you, the working theory is that this was intentionally set because of the size of the multiple fires that appear to have been started in a hallway on, I think it was the 3rd floor. Don't quote me on that. But we have been reporting exclusively for the past several days now that this was an intentionally set fire. Imagine that the Milwaukee Fire Department, and what it will do is activate something called the MABAS box, MABAS. It's basically an all points bulletin for all other departments to come out and help. This fire is so huge. We just need anybody who has available agents to come out. They will do this for acts of terrorism. For example, they activated the MABAS box during the Sikh temple massacre about 12, 13 years ago. Big things like this, they'll activate. What if the Greendale Fire Department just said, yeah, we could send a couple of, trucks over, but nah, we don't agree with fighting fires in that neighborhood. It's not something we do. Sorry. That'd be pretty damn disgusting. And of course, the Greendale Fire Department would. It's just first community that popped into my head. Okay, the Greendale Fire Department will go wherever the Greendale Fire Department is asked to go. Brave men and women on that department. I need to start using fictional talents. Now the Greendale chief is going to be like, you son of a. They would be rightfully scorned for refusing to help out another law enforcement agency. Why is ICE just somehow, whatever. We don't need to help them out. Yeah, okay, yeah. They requested the GPS location data from the bracelet, the electronic monitoring bracelet that Kabarkas Polo was wearing. We were all over this story. Was that last week, producer Eric? Yeah, that was last week. So it was about a week ago that we first broke this story. Monday or Tuesday, I think we broke this story. The Dane County Sheriff's Office said no. And actually, I have a new conversation supposedly from Calvin Barrett, the sheriff himself. Just a listener actually reached out to him on Facebook, and either he or someone using his account actually reached out back. We'll get to that coming up in the next segment, where we'll also name the unhinged liberal of the day. I literally just got this a second ago, and kudos to this listener for actually just going to the sheriff's Facebook page. I didn't even think about that, although I'm just going to take a wild guess. He's going to see Dan O'Donnell and the blue check mark next to my name, click on the profile and realize he is not under any circumstances going to talk to me. So kudos to my listeners for also doing the work of an investigative reporter. I really do appreciate that, to our loyal listener. But I want to get to this, because there were some fireworks during today's hearing, and our unhinged liberal of the day comes to us from said hearing. But there was a group gathered, and as you could imagine, they supported or they opposed this legislation. They support sheriffs being able to just sort of ignore ICE requests. Would it surprise you that a good number of them that I saw on camera from our friends at Wisconsin Eye today were wearing masks? Well, they got a big kick when Democrat State Senator Chris Larson said this.
Immigrants commit crimes at a lower rate than the general population. They commit felonies at a lower rate than our president does, and yet we're targeting them with this very xenophobic legislation.
They also commit crimes at a lower rate than State Senator Chris Larson, who you might remember was convicted of shoplifting. In one of the more charming anecdotes about him as well, he got a parking ticket and his car was being towed. This was years ago. And while it was up on the tow truck, he hopped in it. He hopped in the driver's seat and rode all the way to the tow lot, honking the horn and screaming obscenities at the tow truck driver. No charges, to my knowledge, were ever filed in that instance, but that was a separate incident from the shoplifting. And even that is not true. Illegal immigrants commit federal crimes at a 100% rate. Illegal immigrants. Yes, I am correct in saying that. Every single one of them violates federal law. 8 U.S.C. 1325. Unlawful entry into the United States. Everyone who commits that crime is an illegal immigrant. Ergo, every illegal immigrant commits a crime. Their crime is entering the United States. And as for the idea that they don't commit felonies, if they re-enter the United States, illegal re-entry under 8 U.S.C. 1326 is a felony. So whenever someone tries to tell you, it is true, by the way, that immigrants commit crimes at lower rates than the general native-born population, but that doesn't include the obvious crime that all illegal immigrants commit. Illegal immigrants commit crimes at a 100% rate. If you take nothing else away from this show, take away that. Illegal entry is prohibited under 8 U.S.C. 1325. So whenever someone tries to hit you with that, oh, well, why are we targeting them? They don't commit crimes. Yeah, every single one of them has committed a crime. Every man, every woman, every child has violated 8 U.S.C. 1325. What Calvin Barrett, sheriff of Dane County, said, and unhinged liberal next.
From the Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha Total Traffic Center.
Northbound 4145 from the Zoo to Good Hope, taking 20, about 23 minutes southbound on that trip. Northbound on 43 from the Marquette up to Brown Deer, 22 delays breaking after Keefe. Heavy delays inbound from Capitol. Give yourself 18 from Brown Deer. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off, free UPS shipping, and add code radio for an extra 5% off.
Warshawski trial attorney Frank Crivello here. Folks, I'm Victor Harding. Frank is selected Best Lawyers 2024 Complex Litigation Lawyer of the Year.
More impressive is Victor Harding named Product Liability Attorney of the Year again for 2024.
It may sound boastful to mention these prestigious awards.
It's not boastful considering if you or someone you love is injured, you need to know 2 attorneys from the same personal injury firm being chosen by other lawyers and judges for these caliber of awards is very rare.
Heaven forbid you ever need an injury claim made on your behalf. If you do, the quality of your attorney and law firm will have a greater impact on the outcome than even the facts of your case.
Former clients, other lawyers, judges, law enforcement officers, and even insurance adjusters,
often our adversaries,
refer their family and friends to Warshawski because they know Warshawski will achieve maximum compensation.
Injured? It is about the money.
Warshawski.com.
That's Warshawski.com.
The new iHeart app just looks better.
The best feature of a car radio on the app.
It's the presets.
Super easy.
And thank you for keeping it free.
Get in on what everyone's talking about and get the new and improved free iHeartRadio app today.
iHeartRadio.
Bob from Redefined Realty here. I'd written my own ads for 20 years.
Creative genius. Here. Same. Well, Inet's ads and 100 other businesses' ads.
Writing your own ads, you kind of get stuck repeating the same message. Different words, but the same perspective.
Before introducing Easy Home Bidder, Bob came to Inet to brand his brainchild, MLS Listing Backed by Auction. It's brilliant. MLS guarantees the home is found. Auction guarantees the highest sale price. Period.
Inet branded it, wrote our story, knocked our marketing out of the park. When you think of selling your home, you know MLS and auction together is the right choice.
Redefined also benefits from unparalleled radio buying power, industry influence, and extracurricular enhancement of being part of the Inet community. More than 1,000 businesses working together for each other's successes.
Websites, branding, design, video, and radio. Inet is improving the economy one business at a time.
InetDishWeb.com.
CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
Buyers, sellers, real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you across the greater Milwaukee area. Start your repair right now at mandercollision.com. Mander truly is the best decision after a collision.
My name is Emma. I'm 25 years old, and I work at the Wisconsin Athletic Club. And I just love what I do here because I feel like I helped a lot of people. I hope that other kids can have a goal that they can move out and live independently too. I've had all these opportunities because somebody said yes to me.
Live life to the fullest with Thinkability Wisconsin, a resource hub that supports people with disabilities throughout their lives. Connect with a real-time navigator at thinkabilitywi.org today.
When Flawless Flooring installs luxury vinyl plank, hardwood, modern laminate, or carpeting, I personally guarantee your satisfaction with every step from shopping through installation. I'm Flawless Flooring's president, Dave Brownsdorf, and I approve this message. Sensory underload, Flawless Flooring. FlawlessFlooringLLC.com.
I'm Dan Voss from Cut and Go. Ugly and depressing and trees killed off by emerald ash, oak wilt, and Dutch elm disease are dangerous for friends and loved ones, even a potential liability. Slowly rotting, left-standing hardwood trees can weigh tens of thousands of pounds. Even seemingly smaller branches can weigh tens, even hundreds of pounds. With Cut and Go, there is no reason to risk injury or property damage. Live trees in precarious placement for an arborist to remove over homes, garages, commercial buildings, luxury landscapes are easily and safely laid on the ground by Cut and Go's NCCER crane-operated certified remote control automobile mounted articulating crane grapple saw operators. You can save big money and stock up on firewood by having Cut and Go put your trees on the ground for you to clean up or have a bonfire or split firewood, or we can take it all with us when we leave. A Tons of Trees movement. Cut and Go trees.com. That's CUTNGO trees.com. Once again, that's cutandgotrees.com.
The iHeartRadio app now has preset buttons, just like your car radio. Now make sure one of those preset buttons is set to News Talk 1130 WISN. Excellence is just one click away on the preset buttons of the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this is actually kind of remarkable. Sheriff Calvin Barrett, possibly against his better judgment, actually responded to one of my listeners who basically grilled him over Facebook Messenger in why he refused to comply with ICE and why he did not. Okay, so the Dane County Sheriff's Office, in this story we broke last week about Cabarcas Polo, the illegal immigrant from Venezuela. We think he's from Venezuela. For some reason, he had a Colombian passport, but that shouldn't be especially surprising. He pistol whipped a guy, fled to Texas. He's arrested there. He's extradited back to Dane County. There is an ICE detainer put on him, which means ICE says, hey, we know who this guy is. We know he's in your jail. Hold him for us. Don't let him out. We'll come and get him. Barrett refused to comply with this. My listener reached out after I attempted to get some sort of comment from the Dane County Sheriff's Department to no avail. Barrett on Facebook Messenger says, we have and will continue to arrest any persons in Dane County that violate the law. We have never stopped and will never stop maintaining public safety. Thank you for your time and willingness to have a cordial conversation. The reply from my listener. Of course. So again, will you comply with ICE detainers in your jail for inmates who are violent criminals? ICE knows, and this is the response from Barrett, ICE knows every single person that comes in and out of our jail. They have always had access to our jail records. The fact is, ICE detainers are only civil warrants, not criminal warrants. To hold someone past their release date without judicial, signed by a judge authority, is a violation of the U.S. and Wisconsin Constitution. So your answer is no, you will not, my listener replies. Barrett then replies with a question. Are you asking sworn law enforcement officers to violate the U.S. and Wisconsin constitutions? No, he is most certainly not being asked to do that. Then my listener asks, so would you argue that sheriffs that do comply with ICE, such as Dodge County or Fond du Lac County, are violating the U.S. Constitution? Barrett replies again with the same question. Are you asking sworn law enforcement officers to violate the U.S. and Wisconsin Constitution? He replies, I'm asking if you believe those sheriffs are violating the law. Again, he asks, are you asking sworn law enforcement officers to violate the U.S. and Wisconsin Constitution? The conversation then goes on, and Barrett blocks our listener. No real surprise. This was the campaign page, which is the only Sheriff Calvin Barrett page that I could find on Facebook. And I have every reason to believe that this is a legitimate conversation. I have been in contact with this particular listener before. I find him to be trusted. And frankly, I don't think he would have the wherewithal to be able to Photoshop or AI up a fake Facebook Messenger conversation. So we do thank him for that. That is an incredible service that he provided. I mean, get answers from your public officials. You have every right to do this as a citizen. Time now for the unhinged liberal of the day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
All white people are racist.
Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day actually sounds a lot like that guy who says, America is over. He is a protester who was hauled out of the state Senate hearing today on Senator Julian Bradley and Assemblymember Jim P. Vavarchek's bills that would essentially force sheriff's offices, like the one run by Calvin Barrett, to comply with ICE detainers. Take a listen.
Okay, hold on one second. There's a gentleman sitting over there
This
who
is
is now
Chris
interrupted
Kapenga.
2 times. Sir, if you interrupt again, you will be removed. Senator. Sergeant at Arms, remove the gentleman. We're going to take a pause here. We're not going to be interrupted.
Chris.
These are dark times, and you're making them darker.
I'll just remind the audience, since I'm the chair here, free speech is okay until you interrupt somebody else's free speech. Then it is not free speech, and that will not be tolerated in this hearing room.
This is why I love Chris Kapenga. I'm telling you, the guy, the protester, sounded exactly like that soundbite. These are dark times, and you're making them darker. He is your unhinged liberal of the day.
Listen Listen to Benjamin Yount, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. Saudi Arabia is the first stop in President Trump's tour of the Middle East, his first major foreign trip since he was reelected.
It's my fervent hope, wish, and even my dream that Saudi Arabia, a place I have such respect for, especially over the last fairly short period of time, what you've been able to do, but will soon be joining the Abraham Accords.
And a school board meeting last night in Cudahy about school safety got a little heated. Fox 6's Carl Deffenbaugh.
All of this centering around an incident last month when police say a 12-year-old brought a gun to Lincoln Elementary. School leaders say the situation was handled immediately and safely, though parents don't see it that way.
Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard, the Packers will host the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles at Lambeau Field Monday night, November 10th. The full NFL schedule will be released tomorrow night. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
A mix of clouds and sun today, plus muggy with temperatures in the 60s lakeside to low 70s inland. Fog is still possible at times near the lake, then widespread fog expected overnight. 70s with some sunshine on Wednesday. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barrichello.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off, free UPS shipping, and add code radio for an extra 5% off.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people pay to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Dan O'Donnell here with my friend Daniel from Bayview Shade and Blind. Daniel, I love the work you guys did at our new home, and more importantly, my wife loves it too.
Appreciate that, Dan. We work with folks who really value having a trusted guide to walk them through the whole process, from choosing the right window treatments to professional installation. That's how we do it at Bayview Shade.
And you know what, Daniel? It really shows. Go to bayviewshade.com. They're sharing a little sunshine from their family to yours for 99 years.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson, the Falls and New Berlin. Remember looking forward to playing with your kids or grandkids and having the energy to? At Total Health, we hear it all the time. People say, I'm too tired and worn out to be the person my spouse married or parent or grandparent my family deserves. Sound familiar? Total Health naturopaths find root causes of fatigue and lethargy, then treat you, the whole person, restoring energy and overall wellness. It could be dietary or thyroid function, or maybe you just need to drop some weight. Big Medicine's weight loss injection causing stomach, gallbladder, intestinal, and vascular problems works for them. Sick people are profitable. If excess weight is a contributing factor to you not feeling your best, Total Health naturopaths will never judge you. We'll be honest, providing the tools and motivation to lose weight. Then we'll be with you throughout your journey to feeling happy, healthier, energetic, and well. Be that person your family deserves. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution. TotalHealthInc.com. That's TotalHealthInc.com.
Imagine your home totally organized. At Closets by Design, we specialize in providing affordable, custom-built storage solutions with built-ins and beyond. From garages to new home offices. Our experienced designers work within your budget to design a solution fit perfectly to your needs. Get 40% off plus an additional 15% with 18-month financing. Visit closetsbydesign.com or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN to get started. Let's get organized together.
For safe, purified water right from your faucet, the solution is crystal clear.
Any project, big or small, when it comes to water, one call does it all. SNK, pump and plumbing.
One of the things I loved about Holiday Mazda when I bought my SUV, the price was extremely competitive and also clearly marked, totally transparent. When you're dealing with friendly, knowledgeable people who are also straight shooters, you know what that does? It builds trust. Hey, it's Jerry Bott. I trust Holiday, and so will you.
With summer near, the time is right to get here, get more, and drive inspired in a new Mazda from Holiday. During the Spring Forward sales event, well-qualified buyers can lock in rates as low as 1.9% on top of our low simplified price on Mazda favorites, including the off-road ready Mazda CX-50, 2-row Mazda CX-70, and 3-row Mazda CX-90 with standard all-wheel drive. Connect with us, get more for your trade, and enjoy all the ways that Team Holiday makes car shopping fun, simple, and pressure-free. Find yours and drive it home today from Holiday Mazda, Highway 41 and 23 Fond du Lac, and at holidaymazda.com.
It's worth the trip.
News Talk 1130 WISN.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show, live, a local 5 days a week, 52, give or take, weeks a year, unlike our former president, for whom live is sort of a nebulous concept. The cover-up of Joe Biden's decline is one of the biggest White House scandals and also media scandals in the history of this country. And now one of the most prominent media figures is trying to cash in with a new book which seeks to shield him and his compatriots in the White House press corps from any sort of culpability in said cover-up. We'll get to that in just 1 second. First, it is time once again to bring you the hourly word in the Spring Green Cash Contest. The word this hour is check, C-H-E-C-K, check. You've got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword check to enter the contest for this hour. If your entry is picked at random, you will win $1,000 in a check, courtesy of us. Axios reporting exclusively today that Biden's physical deterioration was so severe in 2023 and 2024 that advisors privately discussed the possibility that he'd need to use a wheelchair if he won re-election. This is from an excerpt of Alex Thompson, an Axios writer, and Jake Tapper's book, Original Sin, which is out next week. They write, Biden's physical deterioration, most apparent in his halting walk, had become so severe that there were internal discussions about putting the president in a wheelchair, but they couldn't do so until after the election. Aides believe that it was politically untenable to have Biden use a wheelchair during his re-election campaign. Given Biden's age, the authors report, his physician, Kevin O'Connor, also privately said that if he had another bad fall, a wheelchair might be necessary for what could be a difficult recovery. Now, Tapper, who is a CNN host, went on CNN today to try to sell books about this and said, look, we didn't miss the story. The White House was lying to us.
Well, Alex Thompson and I were on the case, as were lots of other reporters, trying to figure out what was going on behind the scenes. But The bottom line is the White House was lying, not only to the press, not only to the public, but they were lying to members of their own cabinet. They were lying to White House staffers. They were lying to Democratic members of Congress, to donors about how bad things had gotten. And in fact, Alex and I started writing this book after the election of 2024, and we spoke with more than 200 people, almost all of whom were Democrats, and almost all of whom wouldn't be honest with us or wouldn't be candid with us until after the election. And then after the election, we found out all of these things that when you looked at what was going on with President Biden at the time, it probably doesn't surprise you the extent to which he was deteriorating. But now we have anecdotes and facts about what was really going on behind the scenes with details that Democrats wouldn't share with us until after Election Day.
A couple of big admissions there. One, we couldn't report this book before the election. Nobody would talk to us. What were we supposed to do? Just turn on the TV to see Biden struggling to get through the June D-Day anniversary in Normandy? Or him wandering away while a group of leaders during that same trip were meeting for a photo op, and the Prime Minister of Italy had to pull him gently away as he was looking at the really cool helicopter and the guy who had just parachuted in? Or how about the time where he finished speaking? Where was this? Was he in somewhere in the East Asian jungles and he just turned around and walked off into the jungle? Remember that one? Well, nobody would talk to us. They wouldn't be honest. The other thing was, well, the White House lied to us. They said he wasn't old and senile. What were we supposed to do? Use our investigative reporting skills to find out that, yes, he was old and senile? Well, we actually here at the Dan O'Donnell Show, with help from our friends at Grabian News, put together a montage of Jake Tapper himself through the years from 2020 straight through to the moment that the media decided that they could no longer cover up Biden's decline, the debate, June 27th of 2024. Here is Jake Tapper repeatedly covering up Biden's obvious decline and saying it was instead a stutter.
False claims to the Wall Street Journal about President Biden's mental fitness and acuity. He's sharp physically. I mean, mentally. Yeah. I think the question is physically, right? Right. More so? Right. He's 81 and his memory, it doesn't seem great. It's not horrible, but I don't understand the outrage. Biden embraces his stutter while Trump mocks it, exaggerates it, belittles it. The Russians are trying to make us and the public not trust our election integrity. Joe Biden has dementia, all this stuff.
All this stuff. It's all a Russian psyop. Says the guy who now says, no, it was totally real. Buy my book and I'll tell you all the things that I wouldn't tell you before the election. Now, the obvious truth about this book should be that the media will only tell you things, even those who hold themselves to be above the partisan fray, like Jake Tapper over at CNN, they will only tell you things when they cannot possibly harm Democrats. And make no mistake, this is not about exposing the truth. This is about a media mea culpa. This is rather about avoiding said mea culpa. This is rather about a media butt covering. Well, it wasn't our fault. The 30 and 40-something they-thems who secretly ran the White House while propping up Biden like it was weekend at Bernie's told us that he was fine. What were we supposed to do? Meanwhile, every single conservative in the world was saying there is rather obviously something wrong. And we were saying it from the very start of Biden's campaign. I want to take you back to a rather infamous exchange between Laura Trump, who is now the co-chair of the Republican Party. She's also President Trump's daughter-in-law, and Tapper from his show less than a month before the 2020 presidential election, October 8th, 2020. Trump dared to suggest that there was, hey, something rather obviously wrong with Biden. Listen to how defensive and angry Jake Tapper gets.
I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You have
no.
I can't. This is so amazing. It's so amazing to me that
and try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was.
I think that you were mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. I would think that somebody in the Trump family would be more sensitive to people who do not have medical licenses diagnosing politicians from afar.
Yeah, you can't diagnose somebody who says he's got a stutter with something other than a stutter. It's a stutter. The White House says it's a stutter. Now, never mind the fact that Biden, throughout all of the decades he was in the United States Senate, never said anything about overcoming a stutter. He was the vice president of the United States for 8 years, for goodness sakes, and nobody ever heard a thing about Joe Biden's stutter. What we did hear a whole lot about, though, were cheap fakes. The videos that I told you about Joe Biden needing to be led off stage by the shirt sleeves by none other than Obama himself at a glitzy Hollywood fundraiser. Cheap fake video. That video of him just sort of freezing up on the White House lawn, cheap fake video. The video of him during the White House Easter egg roll last year, cheap fake. He was being led around by the Easter Bunny. You remember the Easter Bunny, the aide in the Easter Bunny costume, waving frantically in Biden's face when he was walking over by reporters who were shouting questions at him, and then leading him away to an area where the reporters wouldn't be able to get their questions answered. That was a cheap fake video. The D-Day anniversary, June 6th of last year, that was a cheap fake video. Exactly 10 days before they all had to admit, no, these weren't cheap fakes. Biden is in very serious decline. June 17th, 2024, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre actually praised the media for calling these videos cheap fakes.
There seems to be a sort of rash of videos that have been edited to make the president appear especially frail or mentally confused. I'm wondering if the White House is especially worried about the fact that this appears to be a pattern that we're seeing more often.
Yeah, and I think you all have called this the cheap fakes video, and that's exactly what they are. They are cheap fakes video. They are done in bad faith, and some of your news organization have been very clear, have stressed that these the right wing critics of the president have a credibility problem because of the fact checkers have repeatedly caught them pushing misinformation, disinformation, and so we see this, and this is something coming from your part of the world, calling them cheap fakes and misinformation.
Your part of the world, i.e. media, i.e. reporters, i.e. the Fifth Estate, the people who have their own special protection in the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States, because our founders realized how important it was that we have an informed electorate. They were the ones who were calling these cheap, fake videos when they were anything but. 10 days later, 10 days after she said that, the world saw just how bad Joe Biden was. Remember, we finally beat Medicare. That was an actual quote from the President of the United States in a debate against a former president. Trump, of course, the funniest president I think we've ever had. And frankly, I think the only one who comes close is Reagan. He responds with, yeah, you beat Medicare, you beat it to death. Even then, there was a debate within the media. Can we continue to fool these idiots into thinking that Biden is okay? It was only Van Jones immediately after that debate, when everyone else said, well, he had an off night. Kamala Harris comes on. I believe it was CNN, which hosted that debate, said, look, he had a bad night. He's doing just fine. It took about 3 weeks before they realized the American people had seen the truth, independent of media spin, independent of complete deliberate obfuscation and outright lies, and we can't cover it up anymore. This was one of the most shameful episodes in a long, shameful first quarter century of this new millennium in bad media behavior. And it is true that this is the biggest White House scandal. Watergate was beyond blown out of proportion. Someone would say, oh, it's the biggest scandal since Watergate. Nixon still had his faculties, for goodness sakes. We were led for 4 years by a guy without a fully functioning brain, and the White House press corps, who, folks, I have been to the White House twice to report from there. I can tell you exactly how close they get to everybody, and it is very close. It is impossible to hide Biden's decline from a reporter who is there every day. They talk to each other. They gossip about what's going on. They all knew, and they all deliberately covered it up, because to do otherwise would be to hand the presidency to the Republicans, and worse yet, to Donald Trump. You want to talk about a scandal? Let's talk about the fact that Tapper and Thompson are now releasing a book saying, okay, now that it doesn't matter, now that the election is over, now we'll tell you the truth. You want to know why shows like mine are so popular? It's because I'll tell you the truth, not when it's convenient for me, but when you need to know. Not after the 2024 election, not after the 2020 election. How about before? The Democratic Party cleared the field. Last night, did you see they held a special vote to void the election of Vice Chair David Hogg because they didn't include enough minorities or something. They violated some arcane subsection of Democrat Party. David Hogg is the guy who has made a career out of being in a different part of the campus than where the Parkland shooting massacre took place. He was not in the same building at the time, but he played well on TV. He got himself elected to vice chair of the Democrat Party, and they're getting rid of him. This is what they do. They just completely undid the results of their primary because, well, Joe Biden, I guess now we can be honest that he's not fit. Notice that they didn't say, hey, he's too senile to run the country. Oh, no. He was not too senile to cling to power. And you'll notice nobody suggested the 25th Amendment, where the cabinet secretaries could get together to remove Biden from office. How many times do we hear about the 25th Amendment being used against Trump in his first term? Not one time was that ever suggested. He's too senile to run for a second term, but he's just fine running the most important country on earth. Okay. And not one member of the media questioned this until we're safely 6 months after the election. Then we can start. Then we can tell you the truth about the guy you voted for. And again, the Democrat Party does not care. They fundamentally do not care. They shoved him in front of their voters. They rigged that 2020 Democrat primary. Remember when every other non-Bernie candidate, save for Elizabeth Warren, who was allowed to stay in the race to siphon votes away from Bernie, all dropped out before Super Tuesday? Remember that? After Biden won the South Carolina primary, they decided, well, it's over. He's our nominee. Bernie Sanders would have won that primary just like he would have won 2016 if they didn't rig it for Hillary Clinton. Once again, no member of the media calling that out. This is far worse, though. We are told over and over and over again, the president of the United States is the most powerful man on earth. They were talking about him being so frail, deteriorating so rapidly, he needed to go in a wheelchair, and that his brain was obviously applesauce long before any of them were willing to even share a single detail that might suggest that. They openly attacked anyone who said so. Anyone who dared to suggest that Biden might not be physically and or mentally fit, which is the baseline test for fitness for the office of President of the United States. Not one of them. And they banded together to attack anybody who dared to suggest otherwise. You tell me what bigger possible scandal our White House and our media could have been involved in. That the guy who they rigged 2 consecutive primaries, either for or against. And make no mistake, they changed the rules in 2024 so that it would be that much more difficult to launch an insurgent challenge. Like, remember Minnesota Rep Dean Phillips, who is trying to get a much bigger name like Warren or Sanders or somebody to primary Biden, because he was saying from the get-go, look, I like Joe, but he's very clearly going senile. They attacked Dean Phillips. They rigged everything for Joe Biden. I'm not even going to get into the 2020 presidential election, the general election, what rigging was going on there. And it was all for a guy who wasn't even competent enough to hold the office. Tell me a bigger scandal. Seriously, tell me a bigger scandal. And now you have got the ultimate in just rubbing your nose in all of it with Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson. Let us tell you how we totally didn't collude with the White House in covering up Biden's senility. It's disgusting. We'll get to an actual sane, competent president. Daily Trump Date next.
From the place you want to go, Lynch McGuanago Traffic Center.
Crews in Brookfield with a wreck at Capitol and 133rd Street. Southbound on 43, heavy from Capitol down to the Marquette and on to 4394 down to the KK River. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
This change has leveled us up while being able to maintain the same quality of service that we've always provided, with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission. We're proud to be part of the Century 21 family, so you can move fearlessly with the added confidence of top-of-the-line marketing for maximum home exposure. And that means more eyeballs and the real potential for the highest price for your home. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. First off, our 1.9% commission structure helps get their foot in the door, and that's why agents like working here. But what they really like is having the strongest marketing tools available, with the resources to help them sell homes at the highest prices to satisfy their clients. Century 21 Benefit Realty offers what agents like most, and that's to help them be successful. If you really want to believe in the business model that you're representing, give me a call. I'm Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty. Call me, and let's talk about your future. Each office is independently owned and operated.
It's Shanna with my dentist, Dr. Matt Smith at Revive Dentistry in Pewaukee. And I love going to you guys. You guys are the best. But why should others go to Revive Dentistry?
We're a comprehensive cosmetic general family practice. Really what we are is we deliver excellence in dentistry and we provide 5-star service. That takes a lot of people's anxiety away, just knowing that we listen and we're there for them. And so it's a matter of like building that trust for a lot of our patients that have not had that before. So the anxiety that they once had because they felt that trust wasn't there, they feel a confidence in what we can do as well. The minute you walk in, you're going to experience something like you've not experienced. From the smells, from the sounds, from the look of the practice. We have a small team that will as you know, make you very comfortable when you walk in.
See their smile transformations at revivedentistry.com. Revive Dentistry, bringing smiles to life.
A little inside baseball that you may or may not know. I won't endorse a business unless I've used the product myself or I've thoroughly researched it and believe in it. Hi, everybody. It's Jay Weber. When the folks at Semperfi Roofing approached me to be their spokesman, I didn't need a new roof, so I went to work doing the research. I've got to tell you, I don't think I've ever seen customer reviews quite like what I found with Semperfi. Hundreds of 5-star reviews, and not just vanilla 5-star ratings or simple clicks. Semperfi's customers are very outspoken about the great customer service and expert installation they receive. Look, hiring the right contractor is a big decision. There's a lot of fly-by-nighters out there. If you want a new roof, perfectly installed for real peace of mind, I've already done the research for you. I cannot recommend Semperfi Roofing highly enough. Call for your free, no-obligation estimate. 262-600-2910, 262-600-2910, or online at semperfiroofing.com. That's semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Securing America.
Professional golfer Phil Mickelson and his LIV Golf team, the High Flyers, continue to help support the troops overseas. They have a partnership with Bunkers in Baghdad. Mickelson recently talked about their work on Fox and Friends.
Bunkers in Baghdad brings golf equipment. Over 1.5 million clubs, over 15 million golf balls to men and women who have served in the military throughout the world. And so we're very proud to support that. And what I love most about it is that 99.3% of all proceeds and revenues goes directly to the troops.
Mickelson discussing why he helps out our armed services members and veterans.
Well, Fox has always been very supportive of the military, and that's kind of a soft spot for me. My dad was in the military and served in Air Force. So, he was a Navy pilot, taught Top Gun for the F-8 Crusaders, and was assigned to the Blue Angels for a while.
You can donate by logging on to bunkersinbaghdad.com. Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
Talk Radio.
Redefined.
You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
So the news that Biden's aides were so concerned about his physical frailty that they worried he might need to serve a second term in a wheelchair makes this exchange between Biden and Trump during their lone debate in 2024 even more hilarious. Remember when Trump called out Biden live for lying about his golf game?
I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. But by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie that is a 6 handicap of all.
I was an 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8. But I have,
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Again, Trump is the funniest president of all time. You're not a 6 handicap, Joe. I've seen your swing. And did you see how Biden immediately goes? This is how you can tell a golfer is lying about their handicap. He immediately goes when he's called out, I was a 6 handicap. Okay, I was an 8 handicap. What was he going to play from the cart? How exactly was he going to play if he needed a wheelchair just to get through his second term? Time now for your look back at the day that was at the Trump White House. It is the Daily Trump Day.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
Well, a whole lot of winning for the Trump administration.
We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
The president, part of his very first official trip. And remember, he made an international trip earlier for the funeral of Pope Francis. This is his very first officially scheduled international trip. It is to the Middle East. Today, he was in Saudi Arabia for a steak dinner, which concluded a couple of hours ago. Remember, the time difference. They are well ahead of us. And earlier in the day, he gave what may be one of the best speeches I've ever heard him give in either of his two terms, where he talked plainly and directly to every one of the leaders of the Middle Eastern countries who wants to be in business with the United States. And he made it plain what the United States is now after in the region.
Before our eyes, a new generation of leaders is transcending the ancient conflicts of tired divisions of the past and forging a future where the Middle East is defined by commerce, not chaos, where it exports technology, not terrorism, and where people of different nations, religions, and creeds are building cities together, not bombing each other out of existence. We don't want that.
What he was talking about rather implicitly was those Abraham Accords, which normalize relations with Israel. And what Trump is saying is that you can choose commerce. You can choose to get rich beyond your wildest dreams with the full support of the United States. You just have to reject terrorism. You just have to root it out wherever you find it in your country. You cannot, of course, sponsor it. And you need to ensure that your people have at least an acceptance of Israel as a state. And the president has inked the biggest arms deal in history with the Saudis, $142 billion, while simultaneously trying to isolate Iran, or rather Iran's leaders, saying that the choice is the Iranian people's. Continue on the current path, which will undoubtedly lead to destruction, or choose commerce over chaos.
Iran can have a much brighter future, but will never allow America and its allies to be threatened with terrorism or nuclear attack. The choice is theirs to make. We really want them to be a successful country. We want them to be a wonderful, safe, great country, but they cannot have a nuclear weapon. This is an offer that will not last forever. The time is right now for them to choose. Right now, we don't have a lot of time to wait.
This is expert public negotiating. And with that stick, he is also offering a large carrot, like the one that was just extended to the Syrian people. Remember, there was recently a regime change in Syria, and President Trump today, in the most consequential part of his speech, announced that he was lifting sanctions on the Syrians.
And I'm very pleased to announce that Secretary Marco Rubio will be meeting with the new Syrian foreign minister in Turkey later this week. And very importantly, after discussing the situation in Syria with the Crown Prince, your Crown Prince, and also with President Erdogan of Turkey, who called me the other day and asked for a very similar thing, among others, and friends of mine, people that I have a lot of respect for in the Middle East. I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness.
Look, America's foreign policy in the region has been marked for 30 plus years now by hostility and invasion, by war. Trump is going with another path, leveraging America's markets, leveraging the access to the American consumer to turn the Middle East into a sort of desert Disney World, or even bigger, desert Las Vegas. The choice is theirs. They have a beautiful region of the country. They have allowed Islamic fascism to take over where in decades past, more moderate, reasonable people were able to exploit the natural resources and be able to enrich all of the region's citizens. What Trump is saying is that if you choose commerce over chaos, the United States will be with you.
If the responsible nations of this region seize this moment, put aside your differences and focus on the interests that unite you, then all of humanity will soon be amazed at what they will see right here in this geographic center of the world. It really is. It's like a center of the world and the spiritual heart of its greatest faiths.
Again, one of the most consequential, best speeches of the man's presidency. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your Daily Trump Day.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Northbound on 4194 approaching Highway 50, a stall blocks the right lane. Southbound on 4194 past Drexel, you got a crash. That one's blocking the right shoulder. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off. Free UPS shipping and add code radio for an extra 5% off.
Batters Fetchkoff with the power play winner! After a whale of a series against the Rockford Ice Hogs, the Milwaukee Admirals advance to the Central Division Finals where they'll take on the Texas Stars. Game 1 in the best-of-5 series is Thursday in Cedar Park, Texas. Face-off at 7 on Fox Sports 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Dan O'Donnell here for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you in Waukesha, Milwaukee, Muskego, Brookfield, Heartland, Cedarburg, and their Waukesha fleet and specialty location. If you have a business with a multi-vehicle fleet, Mander is the place to go because their team understands you can't have a vehicle out of service for a while, so they work quickly and efficiently to get you back on the road and serving your customers as fast as possible through expedited fleet repairs. Mander has been serving their customers and their community for well over 20 years, and they know that the key is expert workmanship and fast turnaround times combined with the sort of customer service that you'll only find at a family-owned local business like Mander. Start your repair today at mandercollision.com and find out for yourself why Mander truly is your best decision after a collision.
Hi, I'm Willa Voss. I'm 8 years old. Mom and Dad own Cut and Go Tree Service. Yes, they did name me after a tree. Our family loves this country and the freedom it provides. Every morning, I look forward to starting the school day with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please say it along with me, even if you just say it in your mind. I pledge allegiance. Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. American patriots will enjoy flying the American flag. I'm mentioning this commercial on the Cut and Go remote control, automobile mounted, articulated crane. Grapple saw operators are putting your dead trees on the ground or removing large branches that grew important. In all American Tons of Trees movement, cutandgotrees.com. That's CUTNGOTREES.com.
They said that building an outdoor kitchen bigger than your indoor kitchen would be crazy. But when you consider all the possibilities of a TrueStone Financial home equity loan with an APR as low as 5.74% and for a limited time, no closing costs, well, the sizzling burgers on that built-in grill, they say otherwise. A TrueStone home equity loan is flexible financing for just about everything, even outdoor kitchens. It's true, because we're TrueStone. Get cooking at truestone.org. Terms and conditions apply. Closing cost offer not valid with competing offers or promotions. Equal housing opportunity.
Every time a friend stops over or you get a package delivered, are you reminded how much you can't stand your front door? Hi, Colleen with Tri-County Contracting. One of the most impactful home improvements you can do, both for the wow factor and the return on investment, is a new front entry door. From interior and exterior colors to specialty glass to side lights, we can help you create your perfect door. Does the patio door open hard every time you let the dog out, or when you are going out to the patio to grill? We can help. At Tri-County Contracting, our window and door team is ready to install one window or the windows on your whole house. With free estimates and everything priced out separately, give us a call and see what fits your budget. Whether it's new windows, a new front entry door, a new patio door, new siding, or all of the above, we can get your project going quickly. Visit TriCountyContractingWI.com to request a free estimate. For 46 years, Tri-County Contracting has been helping homeowners just like you make their homes look incredible. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting.
Grandview buys homes. Let us help you sell your loved one's home. We'll buy your home completely as is. Get a fair cash offer in 48 hours and close on the day you choose. Take only the belongings you want and leave the stress and the mess to us. GrandviewHomes.com.
Not everyone who handles your personal information is as careful as you are, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the United States. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock will monitor hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. And if your identity's stolen, a U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it guaranteed or your money back. Save 40% your first year with my name, Clay, as your promo code at LifeLock.com. LifeLock. For the threats you can't control, terms apply.
Here's what's trending now on the new and improved iHeartRadio app.
She's back. Khloe Kardashian returns to On Purpose with Jay Shetty, and she's getting real about healing and self-love. Plus, Caroline Leavitt shares what it's like being the youngest White House press secretary in history on Post Run High. And Rob Lowe spills some of the funniest stories you'll hear with Chelsea Handler on the Dear Chelsea podcast.
Explore the latest. Open the free iHeartRadio app and see what's trending now.
Spring means that green is busting out everywhere, including your wallet. If you play the nationwide Spring Green Cash Contest on Newstalk 1130 WISN 9 times each weekday, listen for the keyword, enter it at newstalk1130.com, and you might snag the hourly prize of $1,000.
The Spring Green Cash Contest is presented by ARR Recycling. Recycling pays. Bring your copper, brass, lead, steel, or aluminum to their West Dallas or Waukesha locations and get cash. ARR Recycling since 1938.
For the first time in his career, Milwaukee Bucks superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo is at least considering the possibility of leaving the Bucks. And one of the biggest reasons is apparently he's intrigued by the possibility of going to a state without a state income tax. Yes, I'm serious. Hoops Insider is reporting that Giannis is apparently considering states like Texas and Florida, which have no state income tax, because right now he is paying the top marginal tax rate here in Wisconsin of 7.65%. You have a tendency to do that when your current contract is valued at $228 million. And seeing some of the contracts that NFL quarterbacks are getting, even the mediocre ones, I think that Giannis might actually be underpaid. The reason for that is there's just a whole ton more revenue in the NFL than there is in the NBA, even though there are far fewer players on an NBA roster than there are on an NFL roster. The rights deals for television broadcasts for the NFL, I don't even want to know what Amazon bid for that Thursday night game, and Netflix got the Christmas Day game. Years and years ago, I know ESPN got Monday Night Football for $1 billion a year. $1 billion. That's one game a week per season. The number is probably well over $2 billion right now. There are tons and tons and tons of dollars flowing into the NFL. Eric, what did they pay? $1 billion a year still? That's still the going rate. Starting in 2023, Amazon began broadcasting. All right, I guess it's still $1 billion a year. But that's one game. That's one rights package. Think Fox, which broadcasts several games per week. CBS, likewise. NBC. These are billions and billions and billions of dollars coming into the NFL. There are hundreds of millions of dollars flowing into Giannis's bank account. And guess what? Money moves. people will inevitably move towards the places where they're not losing their money to taxes. It is one of the biggest reasons that we're seeing giant inflows to Florida and Texas, so much so that it's estimated that during the next census, scheduled to take place in about 5 years, 2030, after the redistricting, Texas is going to gain 4 congressional seats, and so will Florida. Do you think it's a coincidence? Sure, both of those states have pretty good weather. Florida especially. Florida's got great weather. Florida is a wonderful place to live. It also has no state income tax. People can work anywhere now. For example, it used to be, let's say I was going to take this show national. God willing, and the creek don't rise, I might. But let's say I wanted to. I wanted to syndicate it out. I wanted to do TV. Do you realize I do TV sometimes? I just did TV a couple of weeks ago from a hotel room in Las Vegas after Judge Hannah Dugan got arrested. Newsmax wanted me on one of their primetime shows. When I go on the morning shows, I'm usually in my office, in my house. Sometimes I'm not wearing pants. I'm wearing like basketball or soccer shorts. I'm not in my underwear. I'm not naked. Don't worry. I can do national TV from the old traffic studio at the iHeartMedia Milwaukee headquarters here. The point is, I can do a national television show from my basement if I really wanted to. Technology has made it easy. And I make, I don't think it's a surprise, a tiny fraction of what Giannis is making. He's paying well over my salary just in state income taxes. It's no wonder that he wants to leave. And we were told for years, my friend Jay Weber made a great point this morning. We were told for years, people aren't going to have taxes dictate where they live. They sure are. They sure do. Tax reform is necessary. Instead of the Wisconsin Supreme Court just a couple of weeks ago allowing a 402-year veto to increase taxes for the next 4 centuries. You're not just going to lose Giannis because of this. And let's face it, it's not going to be the biggest factor, but it's going to be a factor. You're going to lose entrepreneurs. You're going to lose businesses. You're going to lose people who are going to flee for Florida and its warmer climate. But there's a reason my own mother is now a Florida citizen and not a Wisconsin snowbird. It's because she doesn't pay any state income taxes. How many millions more do you think are just like her around this country?
The Lynch Truck Center in Waterford Total Traffic Center.
Police with an accident in Brookfield, 128th and North Avenue. 894 eastbound near Forest Home. Crash on the right shoulder. Already have some delays back to the Hale interchange and southbound from Greenfield. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off, free UPS shipping, and add code radio for an extra 5% off.
The final episode of Season 3 of the Larrabee and LePay podcast is available to listen to right now. Matt and Wayne talk with Jake Kokorowski, who covers the Wisconsin Badgers for Sports Illustrated, about where Badger football sits coming out of spring. Plus, Wayne talks Packers post-draft and what to look for in the upcoming OTAs. You can listen to this and every episode of the Larrabee LePay podcast, available anytime on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Presented by UW Credit Union. Here for every you.
Water running back to your foundation due to settling concrete can lead to extremely expensive foundation repairs. Even mold and bacteria in your home.
MudTech, 262-337-0934.
Puts existing concrete back to grade, keeping water away from your foundation for a fraction of patio or driveway replacement cost.
MudTech, 262-337-0934.
262-337-0934 for a free estimate today. MudTech, 262-337-0934. Permanently fixes asphalt with state-of-the-art technology. Uneven sagging stairs and walkways are easily evened out for less than you're guessing with M to the U to the D to the T to the E to the C to the H. 262-337-0934. The cost of having southeastern Wisconsin's premier concrete releveling and asphalt repair technicians at MudTech. 262-337-0934. Restore your paved surfaces today is a fraction of the cost of replacement tomorrow. Call right now. 262-337-0934. MudTechWorks.com.
We didn't write the headline. The Wall Street Journal did. The days of set and forget investing just ended for many Americans. Economic uncertainty and global unrest. It's a wake-up call. Standard financial advice is to avoid making rash decisions during market turmoil. But retirement planning isn't a set it and forget it process anymore. That's where Annex Wealth Management comes in. As fee-only fiduciaries, we craft personalized plans that adapt as needed. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Head to AnnexWealth.com and click the Get Started button.
We use powerful truck-mounted carpet cleaning units designed to remove even the toughest dirt, and certified cleaning technicians who understand the definition of clean.
Edelman Carpet Furniture and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
Fleet Farms Garden Center has discounts on hundreds of plants, flowers, vegetables, fertilizers, and more. Like Farm Fresh Selects 10-inch hanging baskets for $17.99. And large bags of Miracle-Gro all-purpose garden soil for just $7.99. Plus, get a 21-inch full-bore 3-in-1 push mower on sale for only $259.99. When it comes to the great outdoors, let Fleet Farm handle all your patio, lawn, and garden needs at the best prices guaranteed.
Buy 5, Save 5 deals are back this week at Meijer. Buy 5 or more and save $5 or more when you mix or match hundreds of items, like select varieties of Post and Kellogg's large size cereal, Kraft shredded or chunk cheese, Meijer essential paper towels, and 24 packs of select Coca-Cola and Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable. The Buy 5, Save 5 deals at Meijer. That's the good life. A good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Tired of feeling like you're in a fishbowl every time you hit the road? It's time to tint your windows. Tinting your windows will not only block harmful UV rays, but also reduces glare and keeps your car cooler on those scorching summer days. We offer a lifetime warranty on film and installation. Charisma offers a color-stapled film that makes your vehicle look great, and a ceramic film that blocks 99% of UV rays and 85% of sun's heat. Ceramic window film is the best you can get and keeps you cool in blistering summer heat. 262-444-2525. CharismaCustoms.com.
Suicide on a team is devastating and a real risk for veterans. If you or someone you know is struggling, taking action for mental health is a brave step. Reach out now at reachoutwis.org for local resources available to you and your loved ones.
Paid for by Advancing a Healthier Wisconsin Endowment with support by the Medical College of Wisconsin, the War Memorial Center, and reachoutwis.org.
The talk shows on WISN Radio. Not for the faint of heart and not for the feeble of mind. News Talk 1130 WISN. Fact is, until you've heard us, you haven't heard the whole story.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. From land acknowledgments to truly disgusting things being purchased with your tax and tuition money. Just what the heck is going on at the UW campuses? We will take an official campus visit coming up right after the 5 o'clock hour here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Right now, however, it is time to name the unsung hero of the day. It is presented as it is every day by Blue Line Cleaning Services, residential and commercial cleaning done by professionals. Today's unsung hero is Nija Butler. For years, her daughter Annabelle Brown had to put her dreams of becoming a nurse on hold. She had a life-threatening kidney disease that left her pretty incapacitated. She had a bunch of inner doubts about whether she'd ever return to living a normal life. Her mother, Nija, stepped in and offered to donate her kidney. Doctors performed Louisiana's very first robotic kidney transplant, giving Brown a renewed chance at life and Butler the opportunity to see her daughter thrive. Nearly 2 years after that successful transplant back in 2023, the mother and daughter shared another journey. This past weekend, they donned white caps and gowns and both walked across the stage together in Baton Rouge because both graduated from nursing school. Not only did Annabelle fulfill her dream, Nija fulfilled hers. It took a bit longer, and she had one less kidney while she did it, but she wouldn't have traded that experience for anything. What an incredible story about sacrifice and perseverance. That is just very, very cool. That's why Nija Butler is your unsung hero of the day. Stick around, the Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll be right back. More conservative thought and not just talk.
Listen to Clay and Buck weekdays 11 to 2 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee, and make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. Today, a federal grand jury was impaneled in the case against Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan. She has been charged with helping an illegal alien criminal evade ICE agents last month at the courthouse. The annual inflation rate dropped to 2.3% last month. That's lower than expected and the lowest since February of 2021. Meanwhile, Goldman Sachs says there's now a 35% chance the U.S. economy will enter a recession. That's down from the bank's previous prediction of 45%. Checking the Holiday Automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard, Quinn Priester pitching tonight for the Brewers. They're in Cleveland to take on the Guardians. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
We have a foggy night on the way with dense fog developing east to west throughout the night. Temperatures dropping into the 50s. Morning fog on Wednesday, highs in the 70s, and severe thunderstorms possible on Thursday. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
Your home cleaning friend, it's Edelman again. Edelman.
When I decided to remodel my kitchen, it was important to see more than just designs and drawings. Wisconsin Kitchen Mart made it easy, with more fully built kitchen displays than anywhere else. The showroom made all the difference when making important design decisions. Along with their talented team of designers, decorators, and installers, my dream kitchen came to life.
For almost 75 years, our team at Wisconsin Kitchen Mart has created kitchen and bathroom remodels that set us apart from the rest. We understand that your kitchen must be a well-oiled machine so you enjoy using it. And don't forget, bathrooms too. That's why we offer quality design that incorporates the existing space in your home to enhance the style. Come see our full displays in our 18,000 square foot showroom, and with our wide selection of flooring, Play-Doh custom cabinetry, appliances, and countertops, you can get everything you need in one place. Higher design, higher style, higher Wisconsin Kitchen Mart. Visit wisconsinkitchenmart.com for more information and a free consultation.
I'm Kelly Lammert from Clean Living Environments.
Virtually everyone who cleans ducts repairs and sells air conditioners, furnaces, water heaters, or whatever. Duct cleaning is secondary. Clean Living Environments, partners for your comfort and health and your economy. Our superior agitation, high power suction gets more of everything you don't want in ducts out than suction alone can. We're happy with a fair day's pay for a fair day's work. We charge less for superior duct cleaning. Once ducts are Clean Living Environments clean, our ducts-only technicians can seal them. Neighboring states give $500 energy bill credits for existing homeowners who have ducts sealed because sealing saves natural gas waste forever, helping heated or cooled air get where it's supposed to be. If you've been quoted for duct cleaning, I personally guarantee Clean Living Environments will get more out of your ducts, charging less. With natural gas prices skyrocketing upward, Clean Living Environments AeroSeal duct cleaning is a prudent, long-term home budget saver. Get more out of your ducts, cleanlivingenvironments.com. That's cleanlivingenvironments.com.
I gave it a shot and I came in and had the procedure done. To me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago.
A little inside baseball that you may or may not know. I won't endorse a business unless I've used the product myself or I've thoroughly researched it and believe in it. Hi, everybody. It's Jay Weber. When the folks at Semperfi Roofing approached me to be their spokesman, I didn't need a new roof, so I went to work doing the research. I've got to tell you, I don't think I've ever seen customer reviews quite like what I found with Semperfi. Hundreds of 5-star reviews, and not just vanilla 5-star ratings or simple clicks. Semperfi's customers are very outspoken. Customer service and expert installation they received. Look, hiring the right contractor is a big decision. There's a lot of fly-by-nighters out there. If you want a new roof perfectly installed, I've already done the research for you. I cannot recommend Semperfi Roofing highly enough. Call for your free no-obligation estimate. 262-600-2910, 262-600-2910, or online at semperfiroofing.com. That's semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
Get started with your no-hassle refi checkup by clicking on the blue button at accunet.com.
Kowal Investment Group, now Creative Planning, is a registered investment advisor. Now for your business report from Creative Planning. For informational purposes only, past performance is not indicative of future results.
Good afternoon. I'm certified financial planning professional. With their closing business report, stocks were mixed today on news of a softer than expected inflation report. The S&P 500 pushed back into positive territory for the year, while the Dow came under pressure following an 18% drop in shares of United Health Group. The sell-off came after the company's CEO said he is stepping down for personal reasons. And shares of NVIDIA jumped over 5% today following news that the company will send more than 18,000 of its top AI chips to Saudi Arabia. On the day, the Dow fell 269 points, the S&P 500 was up 42 points, and the NASDAQ finished up 301 points. From the Kowal Investment Group, now Creative Planning, I'm Aaron Spitzner.
I said yesterday, President Trump is on a generational run. We had the massive deal announced with China on trade. A couple of days before that, we had peace brokered between India and Pakistan, where there were fears of World War III breaking out. We had Edon Alexander, the last remaining American Hamas hostage, returned to his family safe and sound. Before that, we had a UK trade deal announced. How much more winning could we do? You know, this hurt for Politico to write today. Trump tariffs have little impact on prices so far, defying grim forecasts. The Labor Department reported today that prices rose at an annual rate of 2.3%, the smallest increase since early 2021. while price growth in so-called core sectors of the economy, which exclude volatile food and energy costs, remained elevated at 2.8%. April's consumer price index contained only scant evidence that Trump's tariffs have meaningfully driven up the cost of living. The CPI report will likely bolster the administration's claims that grim forecasts for the economy have been overblown. Most polls have Trump's approval rating underwater as voters sour on his economic policies. Now, you know Politico had to get that in. But I'm old enough to remember when we were told that Liberation Day would lead to Black Monday on the stock market. 1987 all over again. You know who told me this? A trusted financial media guy who is known to never, ever, ever, ever be wrong, ever, about anything. Jim Cramer. This is Cramer on his show Friday, April 4th.
The president doesn't try to reach out and reward these countries and companies that play by the rules in the 1987 scenario. The one where we went down 3 days and then down 22% on Monday has the most cogency. We will not have to wait out too long, will we? We'll know by Monday. Fortunately, we had an excellent set of employment numbers today. At least it makes it less likely a crash will necessarily lead to a recession. But if President Trump stays intransigent and does nothing to ameliorate the damage that I saw these last 2 days, I'm not going to be constructive here. I will contain my anger, but only because I lived through 87, and in the end, I came out okay. I was in cash for the crash. I know what this feels like. Oh, and if Europe moves against our fabulous tech companies next week, then I will be furious. That I promise you, because it should not happen.
And don't worry, Jim, it didn't. You were wrong again. Do you know what happened on that Black Monday that Cramer was predicting? Futures were down. I mean, global futures were hitting disaster levels. A couple of countries had to actually hit the emergency stop. The United States did not. I had a good amount of cash sitting around, and I invested a decent amount of it. Almost immediately, we finished Cramer's Black Monday in the green. Almost immediately, I made a lot of money. I say that not to brag, but I say that because I understood what was actually going on in a way that the media simply refused to. Would you believe that Cramer's parent network, NBC News, is right now, just now, tracking prices? They announced to great fanfare on social media that they were going to track changes in the prices of eggs, bread, ground beef, chicken, and other grocery items to monitor the impact on consumers' food bills. This was yesterday. CPI comes in with the lowest year-over-year gain since the start of Biden's presidency. NBC News had no interest in doing this when we had CPI of 9% year over year, the highest in a quarter century, in a half century. Would you believe that within 5 months of Biden taking the oath of office, January of 2021, we had the highest year-over-year inflation in 40 plus years? In fact, exactly 4 years ago today, I can remember doing this when the May CPI report came in. I was doing my midday show back then. And I can remember saying, look, the stimulus and all of the barriers that the Biden administration is throwing up to get people off the couch, it's having a major impact. We had the biggest year-over-year inflation gain in a quarter century in that first May. By July, we were up to 40-year highs. By the following July, July of 22, 9.2% year-over-year. Prices increased on everything. And at the grocery store, much, much higher. Nobody was interested in tracking prices. This is reminiscent of the daily Iraq war death counters that they had in newspapers throughout the Bush presidency. that immediately stopped on January 20th, 2009. When Obama became president, the media just stopped at least feigning interest in American soldiers' deaths because they could no longer weaponize those against a Republican president. Now they think they can weaponize inflation against this Republican president. And wouldn't you know it, 24 hours later, reality slaps him in the face with an incredible bit of karma that we have no inflation now. And the Federal Reserve should probably be cutting interest rates. They did an emergency cut in a last-ditch effort to save the old man and the incompetent woman who is running in his stead before the 2024 election. I can never get my good friend Dave Spano of Annex to say what I will say freely. The Federal Reserve was trying to rig the presidential election through its manipulation of interest rates to hold off a recession until Trump would be in office and would take the blame for what was very obviously caused by Biden's disastrous mishandling of the nation's economy. Guess what? JP Morgan today, as part of Trump's generational run, we need to have, as we have theme music for pretty much everything here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. What? I like music. I like having theme music. We need like a generational run theme song because I have not seen a run like this in any past presidency, including Trump's first term, ladies and gentlemen. The past week has been remarkable. It has been insane what this president has been able to accomplish on foreign policy. The China deal, this wasn't, folks, I've had time, a little bit more time to sit back and reflect on what the China deal actually is. It's not just a trade agreement. It is a fundamental reset of the commercial relationship between the United States and the Chinese. This is assuming we can trust the Chinese, which is a very big if. The CCP is notoriously dishonest and notoriously willing to violate pretty much every agreement they sign. But what's going to happen, and I think Trump and anyone else who has a deep abiding faith in America and American companies and American ingenuity, is that if American products and if American services are allowed to compete on a level playing field, look, folks, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you I've been all around the world, but I've been to a number of countries in Europe, in Central America, and I understand that they don't have the choice of products that we do here in this country, and the products that they do have are frankly inferior to what we have in the United States. If American products and American companies are allowed to compete free of not just tariffs, which are what people on the outside see, but the non-trade barriers to free trade, non-tariff barriers to free trade, which people on the outside don't see, American products win. These are these sort of protectionist regulatory hurdles that foreign countries will put on American products just because they want to keep said products from competing with the homegrown Irish potato chips, for example. I told you the one thing American potato chips will never be able to compete with is Tato's brand potato chips that we got in Ireland. For one of the kids' birthdays, my mother-in-law actually paid to have Tato's potato chips shipped in because the kids fell in love with it. They are fantastic potato chips. Everything else in Ireland, not quite as good as in the United States. And I love Ireland, but a whole lot of American-made clothing you won't find. A lot of American stores. Target, Walmart, that sort of thing. Not allowed. Why? Now American companies have access to 1 billion people in China that they never did before. What do you think that's going to do for revenue and taxation generation here at home? I'm telling you, folks, generational run. Spring Green Cash Contest, 5 o'clock word is bills. B-I-L-L-S, bills. You have got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword bills to enter the contest for this hour. If your entry is picked at random, you will be able to pay your bills with $1,000 in cash. Opening up the adventknows.com talk and text line here. Well, Dan, one texter says, you see, during the Biden administration, inflation was transitory. Yeah, it was. That was a rather obviously facetious, sarcastic remark by a man or woman after my own heart. It was anything but transitory, but they kept telling us that Biden's policies were not inflationary, while they tell us Trump's policies are inflationary. We're going to be paying so much more at the grocery store. We are going to be paying so much more at the pump because of Trump's tariffs, because of Liberation Day. But they were wrong. Just like they were wrong about Trump on everything else. And just like they were wrong about pretty much everything Biden was doing. Graduation day for college kids across the UW system. What commencement ceremony began with the most woke liberalism imaginable? Find out next when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
With Dan on Twitter at Dan O'Donnell Show. More of the show is next.
From the Lynch Buick GMC of West Bend Total Traffic Center.
Down in Kenosha County, some heavy delays northbound 40, 194 approaching Highway 50 because of a stall that blocks the right lane. 22 minutes northbound 40, 145 up to Good Hope, southbound taking you a half hour. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by First Choice Heating and Cooling.
This heat is unbearable.
Keep your family comfortable with First Choice Heating. For a limited time, get $89 off your AC and heating tune-up. Milwaukee's trusted HVAC company, firstchoiceheating.com.
Bob here for Redefined Realty, powered by EasyHomeBidder.com.
Brian here. I was in the market to buy my first home. I rushed to see houses the day they went live on MLS. Made offers on 5 houses before finally getting the 6th accepted. I would have increased my bid on all 5 of the other houses I didn't get, but never got the chance.
Brian's story is tragic for Brian, but also for sellers. Brian would have paid more for each of the 5 houses he didn't get. That's 5 sellers guided by traditional MLS agents who sold their home for less than they could have. Redefined Realty, powered by EasyHomeBidder.com's auction platform and MLS, would have earned all 5 Wisconsin area home sellers more money. A lot more money. Selling a fixer-upper, a duplex, a condo, a $400,000 home, or a multi-million-dollar home. When buyers bid, sellers win. In fact, when buyers bid, buyers win too. Heck, everybody wins at Redefined Realty and EasyHomeBidder.com. Buyers win, sellers win. Obvious, but revolutionary. When buyers win, sellers win. It's real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
Homeowners across Wisconsin trust WeatherPro Exteriors for the best in roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Voted Milwaukee's 2024 top choice. We are proud to deliver the highest quality and service. Right now, get $1,000 off a full roof replacement, plus a $200 quick trip gift card. Your home is your biggest investment. Make sure it's protected with top quality roofing, siding, windows, and doors built to last. Visit WeatherProExteriors.com today.
I want to talk to you about Scott Ferguson at American Medical Plans. If you pay for your own health insurance or you're looking for coverage, do not go online looking for quotes. You'll get endless calls from call centers, and they will not stop. Instead, call Scott, an expert with over 30 years experience, and he can provide sound advice for your health insurance needs. Their plans let you pick your doctors, and it's 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. The monthly premiums are independent of your income, so there'll be no surprise tax bills. If you pay for your own health insurance, own a small business, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Scott at 833-500-PLAN. That's 833-500-7526. Or go to AmericanMedicalPlans.com. That's AmericanMedicalPlans.com. They'll customize a plan chosen and managed by you, not the government.
Be sure to listen to the NX Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. NX provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people pay to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference. The latest news.
And let's get right to it. This is just breaking right now, a major development.
Exclusive investigations.
That has been confirmed by multiple sources. It is a story you will hear only right here.
In-depth analysis.
I did some digging on this and found the truth.
And plenty of fun.
That it's time now for the strangest stories of the past week.
The Dan O'Donnell Show. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Classical conservatism and contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Welcome back to it. Still no update from, the grand jury that is impaneled today to decide whether Judge Hannah Dugan will face federal charges. Folks, just frankly, knowing what I do about federal juries, grand juries, the old joke is that they could indict a ham sandwich. I would be shocked if she's not indicted. The evidence against her is overwhelming. Probably an indictment comes down later this evening or possibly tomorrow. It depends just on how detailed the case that is being presented to those grand jurors. We will keep you updated on this. It was graduation day for pretty much all of the UW campuses over the weekend. And at UW Stout, it began with a land acknowledgement. For those who don't know what a land acknowledgement is, it's something that white liberals say to make themselves feel better about the fact that they will never, ever, ever give back the land that they stole, or at least their ancestors did, from the peaceful native populations. But it makes them feel better about being able to stand on the blood land. UW Stout's land acknowledgement, and I'm serious, this is the very first thing that was said during the graduation ceremony by the UW Stout Provost and Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Glendale Rodriguez.
Today, we begin by acknowledging that the University of Wisconsin-Stout occupies the ancestral homelands of the Anishinaabe, Dakota Oyate, Ho-Chunk Wazachachi, Mama Choctaw nations. We also acknowledge the term Monoman is an Ojibwe word meaning abundant with wild rice. Like so many other indigenous lands throughout the United States, we recognize that settler exploration and industrialization depleted the local natives of their resources, including sacred rice beds, and resulted in their displacement. The University of Wisconsin Stout is committed to reconciling and building respectful relations with tribal nations. It is crucial to bring awareness to this history while honoring the sovereignty and self-determination of Indigenous people. It is a privilege to reside upon these lands today amongst its original Native stewards.
Yeah, we're not giving back the land, though. I actually sent an email this afternoon when I was made aware of this story to Provost Rodriguez. It reads as follows. Hi, Provost Rodriguez. Very nice job on your speech at commencement this weekend. I have a question, though. Do you plan to resign in protest of UW Stout sitting on land stolen from Indigenous peoples? If not, how can you reconcile your deep and obviously sincere concern about this with your continued employment there? Thank you, and I will, of course, share your answer in my reporting on this matter. Sincerely, Dan O'Donnell, iHeartMedia. She has not gotten back to me. I know. It is a serious question, though. She obviously feels quite strongly about the fact that UW Stout is sitting on, I didn't even catch all those tribes.
Today, we begin by acknowledging that the University of Wisconsin Stout occupies the ancestral homelands of the Anishinaabe, Dakota Oyate, Ho-Chunk, Wasatchachi, Mama Choctaw Nations. We also acknowledge the term Monoman is...
Okay, wait. So Monoman is...
an Ojibwe word meaning abundant
rice?
with wild rice. Like so...
Monoman is... Okay. So we have to acknowledge... Well, all right. I guess if we're doing this, I would like to acknowledge that the Dan O'Donnell Show's studios sit on land that was once occupied by the, I don't know, Potawatomi people, and that Milwaukee is an Algonquin word for the good land. I know you were probably unaware of that. And you're probably now thinking, does this guy know how to party or what? If you don't get that reference, you probably didn't grow up in the 1990s. I am dead serious about this. If they're that bothered by the fact that settler colonialism robbed these peaceful indigenous peoples of all of the land save for the Ho-Chunk Casino, which I think is doing just fine, thank you. Why are they taking part in a system that brutally oppressed, murdered, and robbed these obviously peaceful people who never, ever, ever fought amongst themselves over land? Why are they taking part in
many other indigenous lands throughout the United States? We recognize that settler exploration and industrialization depleted the local natives of their...
And industrialization, she says, as she drives her mass-produced vehicle back to the home that she lives in as a result of it. Can we? Okay, UW Stout, you wanna, live up to the values espoused by the provost, and this is the woman who is basically second in charge after the school's chancellor. She's so against industrialization. Put her in a bloody teepee for office hours.
Resources, including sacred rice beds,
and
rice resulted
beds.
in their displacement.
All right. Here's what I want. I want this woman evicted from her office, and she can put up a teepee on the rice beds that we are going to plant to, benefit the local Mama Choctaw Indians or whoever it was that used to occupy. I am so tired of this disingenuous leftyism that is just sort of crept into, well, I would like to acknowledge. Great, you acknowledged it. Now do something about it or shut the hell up. A UW school that is even more insane in its woke liberalism. Next on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Conservative thought, not just talk. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Heavy roadwork delays southbound 4145, Good Hope down to Burleigh, and northbound between Watertown, Plank, and Hampton. Northbound 43 jam from the Marquette to Keefe, southbound Keefe to the Marquette. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Lynch Automotive family of dealerships.
It's Military Appreciation Month at the Lynch family of dealerships. Eligible military personnel get $1,000 off any new vehicle. Plus, enjoy financing as low as 0%. Visit shoplynch.com today.
Spring means that green is busting out everywhere, including your wallet. If you play the nationwide Spring Green Cash Contest on News Talk 1130 WISN 9 times each weekday, listen for the keyword, enter it at newstalk1130.com, and you might snag the hourly prize of $1,000.
The Spring Green Cash Contest is presented by ARR Recycling. Recycling pays. Bring your copper, brass, lead, steel, or aluminum to their West Allis or Waukesha locations and get cash. ARR Recycling since 1938.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
Yeah, when you say your Hasselus mattress showrooms are employee-free, you don't really mean it, right?
Of course we mean it. No employees. Give the mattresses a try with no pushy sales guy.
Why no employees?
To save you money.
How much money?
Well, others sell a Beauty Sleep by Beauty Rest Elm Cove B Queen for $16.59, but the everyday Hasselus price is just $8.42.
Whoa, Nelly.
We also have way low pricing on our selection of Sealy Posturepedic and more.
Well, that's pretty good.
And through Monday, purchase a select Beauty Rest or Sealy Posturepedic mattress in any size and receive a free adjustable base.
That's exceptionally good.
Plus, free next day delivery, removal and setup of your new mattress, and free financing is available too.
All because your showrooms are employee-free?
Yes, sir.
I like the way you do business.
Get a free adjustable base now through Monday at Hasselus Mattress. Open 9 to 9. Get all the details and find the self-service employee-free showroom near you at Hasselus.com.
I'm Larry Brinkman, president of Dornbrook Construction. Dornbrook Construction has installed concrete in every industrial and commercial setting from the Milwaukee Airport to Campbell's Soup. From big shots in manufacturing and industry, locally as well as the up-and-coming businesses in southeastern Wisconsin. Big business chooses Dornbrook because they know Dornbrook is ACI certified, fully licensed, insured, and bonded. And they know for 25 years, Dornbrook stands behind every square foot of concrete we install. Little businesses choose Dornbrook for all those reasons and also because they can afford to choose Dornbrook. Dornbrook is industry's choice for commercial concrete because we do perfect business efficiency-minded preparation and installation on every job. We know you aren't closing your business to have concrete work done. 25 years of experience ensures your loading dock or dumpster pad or machine base or huge flat concrete job isn't our first go-around. Standing behind the concrete Wisconsin businesses and residents stand on Dornbrook Construction. DornbrookConstruction.com. 414-333-0642.
For people with disabilities, an opportunity can make all the difference. Get help navigating the transition into adulthood, employment, housing, healthcare, and more with Thinkability Wisconsin, a resource hub that empowers people with disabilities.
I am super glad I have Down syndrome. I love my life. Don't be afraid if you want to have a job and live on your own.
Live life to the fullest. It all starts when you say yes. Contact a Thinkability Navigator to get help at thinkabilitywi.org.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve, here to tell you about Grieve Civil Law. Life is unpredictable, and the consequences of not planning for the future can be devastating. Have you ever thought about what would happen if you ended up in the hospital without the ability to make your own medical decisions? Or what will happen to your family if you die without a will? Without a power of attorney, your family could face agonizing decisions without knowing what you wanted. You could undergo medical interventions you don't want, or worse, lie in limbo while medical staff tries to determine who should have the final say in what happens to you. When you're gone, your loved ones could end up in probate with legal battles, high court costs and fees, and family disputes over your assets. In probate, everyone can see your assets, from the government to your nosy neighbors. Plan today so you can have peace of mind tomorrow. Don't leave your family in chaos and confusion. Contact Grieve Civil Law today, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. Visit grievecivillaw.com.
Joseph, you're business coach and owner of the EWH University for Small Business. Your business struggling closing sales? Tune in to WISN Sundays at 11 a.m. for tips to grow your business successfully. To learn more, visit ewhuniversity.com.
Made for This Mountain exists to empower listeners to rise above their struggles and face the mountain in front of them. So during Mental Health Awareness Month, focus on your emotional well-being. Tune into the podcast and climb that mountain.
You will never be able to change or grow through the thing that you refuse to identify. The thing that you refuse to say, hey, this is my mountain. This is the struggle.
Listen to Made for This Mountain on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Made for This Mountain.
Liars, cheats, Democratic politicians, liberal media types.
It is the Dan.
Listen to this.
All right, I sort of jumped my cue. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. I just couldn't wait to bring you the breaking news just into us a second ago. A federal grand jury has just indicted Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan on charges of helping an illegal immigrant criminal evade ICE authorities at her courtroom. She allegedly shuttled this illegal named Eduardo Flores Ruiz through her jury room doors after the ICE agents presented a valid warrant. She faces 2 federal charges. One is obstruction of proceedings, which prohibits obstructing or impeding the due and proper administration of the law before any department or agency of the United States. And the second is concealing a person from arrest. It is illegal under federal law to harbor or conceal someone for whom a warrant has been issued after knowledge of the fact that a warrant has been issued. Now, she did face those federal charges, but went before a grand jury, which determined that there is probable cause. There was a day-long hearing today. She was charged with those 2 charges. Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, they don't know either. It's not immediately clear what charges were contained in that grand jury indictment. It changes. It can change, rather. The investigators can actually present new charges, and the charging document is not like a charging document in state court, where that's sort of the final, that's the declaration of the probable cause. The probable cause to move forward with the trial is contained, the evidence is contained essentially in the charging document. There's then an initial court appearance where bail is set. It's a different system. Federal law is governed, of course, by the United States Constitution, and because we have a much different, well, not much different system, but because we have a different system of criminal law when it's a federal charge, a grand jury is impaneled so that the FBI or another agency can't simply, I don't want to say make up evidence, but it's another layer of protection for the accused so that a jury of the accused's peers have the opportunity to hear the evidence that's presented and determine if there is enough evidence to bound the defendant over for trial. Today, although neither the Journal Sentinel nor and I was frantically trying to contact my sources to see what exactly was contained in this indictment. We'll get it within, hopefully, by the time this show is over. But it can be a different charge. They could have indicted on one charge, the obstruction of proceedings charge. They could have indicted on both the obstruction and the concealing charge. They could have added another charge. There was the possibility that there could be additional federal charges heaped onto her. I would think the most likely scenario is that the grand jury indicted on the two original charges because they are so supported by the available evidence. You read the federal criminal complaint, and there's a reason I think the national media sort of dropped this story once the complaint was dropped, because the evidence is overwhelming. She was not acting as a judge. She was not as what was it? Buckley said, standing athwart history and yelling stop to the evil tyrant Donald Trump and his brown shirts in ICE. She took it upon herself as a private citizen to shield a dangerous criminal who had just beat the holy hell out of a dude and his girlfriend and was facing serious felony charges in Dugan's court, mind you. She helped him escape the administration of justice. She wasn't standing up for the rule of law. She was standing against it. And I can think of no more disqualifying thing for a judge to do than to use her courtroom, to use the privilege and the power that she has that's entrusted to her to uphold the law, to help enforce the law, to be the arbiter of law, than to help a criminal who is supposed to be neutral. He is supposed to not have any special rights in front of her. She helped him escape through the jury room door. What do you think is going to happen if and when this guy goes back before Judge Hannah Dugan? Well, that's out the window. She can't try this case. She can't try this guy. The state would have to move for a recusal. She already proved her bias towards him. She can't hear this case. She helped him escape. What did she think was going to happen when she let this guy out? That he was ever going to return to face charges? That he was ever going to allow himself to be tried on the charge, just violently assaulting two people who, by the way, are furious that she did this. You know who else is furious that she did this? Even the far more left-leaning readers of the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel than the general public, 60% of them, 60, said the charges against Hannah Dugan were completely justified. You know why? Because they are. What would have been a travesty, what would have been a miscarriage of justice, is if the grand jury did not indict. I'm telling you, folks, the evidence is overwhelming. The statutes are crystal clear. Concealing a person from arrest. You may not harbor or conceal someone for whom a warrant has been issued after the knowledge of the fact that a warrant has been issued. ICE agents showed up. They said they had a warrant for the arrest of Eduardo Flores Ruiz. According to multiple witnesses and sources that I have, she saw the warrant. She didn't accept it, though, because it was an administrative warrant and not a judicial warrant. So she distracted them by sending them on a wild goose chase to the chief judge's office. And by the way, he has been remarkably silent on this whole thing. While they were busy talking to the chief judge, she's sending this guy out, according to multiple witnesses. I'm going to read again. This is directly from the criminal complaint. Defense counsel and Flores Ruiz then walked toward each other and toward the public courtroom exit. The courtroom deputy then saw Judge Dugan get up and heard Judge Dugan say something like, "Well, come with me." And by the way, I can tell you that that deputy is going to testify to that fact. Despite having been advised of the administrative warrant for the arrest of Flores Ruiz, Judge Dugan then escorted Flores Ruiz and his counsel out of the courtroom through the jury door, which leads to a non-public area of the courthouse. No, don't go out there where you'll be taken into ICE custody. Come back here. Multiple people saw this, and I am told all of them will testify to that effect. She is dead to rights on this charge. Did she obstruct an official proceeding? Obstruction of proceedings prohibits obstructing or impeding the due and proper administration of the law before any department or agency of the United States. Here's where you think like a lawyer. This is what we do on the Dan O'Donnell Show that is so different from every other show on radio, on podcast, on television, anywhere. Let's break this down into its component parts. Is ICE a department or agency of the United States? Yes. Is an ICE warrant and arresting someone on an ICE warrant a valid and proper administration of the law? Libs might not think so, but I'm sad to inform you it is. Did Hannah Dugan obstruct that due and proper administration by shuttling this guy out of a private exit, which she knew would take him away from the ICE agents waiting outside her courtroom? She did. She is dead to rights on this charge as well. Once again, breaking news, Hannah Dugan has just been indicted on federal charges related to a story that we broke here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. She helped an illegal immigrant criminal escape ICE arrest, but not for long. They eventually arrested him after a brief chase outside of the courtroom.
From the Lynch GM Superstore in Burlington, Total Traffic Center.
Got some delays eastbound on 94, starting at 84th, clearing up after 35th. Westbound just tight around the stadium. Still very heavy with roadwork 43 northbound between Fond du Lac and Burleigh. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
You got to get to Built Right today. Dan O'Donnell here for my friends at Built Right Furniture. Built Right's biggest Memorial Day mattress sale is on now. Their one location saves you time and money, and they make it easy to shop and easy to buy. Built Right beats any big box, national or local chain store, employee-free store, online retailer, or warehouse club because they have the guaranteed lowest prices. Over 60 models and 500 mattresses in stock. Choose from the best mattress brands made in the USA: Heirloom, Therapeutic, Restonic, Schiffman, and Gold Bond. Built Right specializes in hard-to-find, flippable, and heavy-duty mattresses. Plus, Built Right offers free delivery and removal on mattress-only purchases of $799 or more. Voted best place to shop and open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Sunday closed to be with family. Tell them Dan sent you to Built Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield. Buy local.
All about the presets.
That is the best new feature. It's like a car radio right on the app. There's a list of what's trending. There's all the podcasts. I love it.
Get in on what everyone's talking about and get the new and improved free iHeartRadio app today.
iHeartRadio.
One of the things I loved about Holiday Mazda when I bought my SUV, the price was extremely competitive and also clearly marked, totally transparent. When you're dealing with friendly, knowledgeable people who are also straight shooters, you know what that does? It builds trust. Hey, it's Jerry Bott. I trust Holiday, and so will you.
With summer near, the time is right to get here, get more, and drive inspired in a new Mazda from Holiday. During the Spring Forward sales event, well-qualified buyers can lock in rates as low as 1.9% on top of our low simplified price on Mazda favorites, including the off-road ready Mazda CX-50, 2-row Mazda CX-70, and 3-row Mazda CX-90 with standard all-wheel drive. Connect with us, get more for your trade, and enjoy all the ways that Team Holiday makes car shopping fun, simple, and pressure-free. Find yours and drive it home today from Holiday Mazda, Highway 41 and 23 Fond du Lac, and at holidaymazda.com.
It's worth the trip.
Picture taking your first steps into your brand new home. What do you see? Whether it's cooking meals in your 5-star kitchen or practicing downward dog in your sunroom, Valinsky Homes can handle it all. At Valinsky Homes, we know each lifestyle calls for unique home essentials. That's why we've been designing distinct and deliberate floor plans for over 60 years. Considering every last inch of space, we build new homes ready to adapt to your life's needs. Visit Valinsky.com today to find your right fit. Valinsky Homes, built for life.
Hello, it's Roman Weniger at Five Corners Dodge, Chrysler Jeep and Ram Truck, announcing Get Employee Pricing Plus. Yes, you get employee pricing on brand new vehicles, and you get rebates too. That is rebates with employee pricing on new Dodge, Chrysler Jeep and Ram trucks on select models. Get up to $12,900 off on a brand new Ram 1500 Crew Cab. That is employee pricing. Best of the best. Save now on a new Jeep Grand Cherokee. Employee Pricing Plus. Rebates and discounts. Get $5,670 off. Five Corners Auto Group, Highway 60 Cedarburg.
Tune in every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. as Ellen Becker Investment Group highlights local people and organizations who are using their time and their talents to give back to make a difference in our community. Milwaukee's philanthropic community. Visit ellenbecker.com to learn more.
For safe, purified water right from your faucet, the solution is crystal clear.
Any project, big or small, when it comes to water, one call does it all. SNK, Pump and Plumbing.
Marketing a modern business means finding and serving your customers 24/7 wherever they are. WISN broadcasts are a powerful platform, but there's so much more. WISN's online digital tools are completely customizable, so you can reach your ideal customer through the iHeart app or by using software that actually finds your customers at a specific location or event. These tools are precise, efficient, measurable marketing weapons that you need to use. Combine the power and cloud of WISN's broadcast and digital platforms right now. Go to newstalk1130.com. Keyword digital.
We report, you decide. Factual, fair, and balanced coverage. Your exclusive home of Fox News Radio. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. We are covering breaking news, an update to a story we first told you about exclusively here on the Dan O'Donnell Show about 2 weeks ago. Judge Hannah Dugan has just been indicted by a federal grand jury on charges of helping an illegal alien criminal escape ICE agents there to arrest and deport him by shuttling Eduardo Flores Ruiz through her courtroom's jury room doors into a private exit where he tried to run away. Fortunately, there was an ICE agent on the elevator with Flores Ruiz and his defense attorney, and he alerted ICE agents who were outside the courtroom. They were able to take Flores Ruiz into custody. He made it a grand total of about a half a block, but unfortunately, he was not a very good sprinter. Now, I do want to make sure I give a shout out to Aiden Worth with the Madison Federalist for breaking a story that we were going to cover before that breaking news of Dugan's indictment interfered. UW-Madison's students' segregated fees have been used to purchase sex toys. The organization Sex Out Loud was approved for almost $136,000 by the Student Services Finance Committee. That's an increase of more than $8,000 from the previous year. Rory Madden, the chair of Sex Out Loud, denied an interview request from the Madison Federalist. However, she provided an email response to some questions confirming that Sex Out Loud is solely funded by the General Student Services Fund, which comes from segregated fees that UW-Madison students are required to pay. Meaning if your kid goes to UW-Madison, congratulations, you're paying for dildos. We'll get to that story in greater depth tomorrow. Breaking news and exclusive stories dependent, right? We just always have to go with the flow. But I just wanted to make sure that the Madison Federalist and Aiden Worth got their due for breaking this story. It really is good reporting from the UW-Madison conservative news organization, the Madison Federalist. Please do subscribe to them, support them in any way, because this is actual fantastic journalism that you typically don't get from student-run liberal newspapers. You get land acknowledgments like the provost of UW Stout. But back to Hannah Dugan. This is what happens when performative liberalism, like land acknowledgments, and that's all that is. It's performative wokeness by the provost of UW Stout. I already forgot this woman's name. Maybe if she would have emailed me back and answered my question if she's going to resign in protest of UW Stout stealing land from those peaceful Native Americans. I don't know her name, and frankly, I don't care. It took me a grand total of 25 minutes to forget it. When performative liberalism goes beyond just inane, laughable wokeness into what Hannah Dugan did, it is criminal. And I am so glad that it is being treated as such. For example, the mayor of Newark, he was arrested and he faces federal charges last week for storming an ICE detention center in his home city. There is a sitting member of Congress named LaMonica McIver who can be seen on video elbowing and trespassing into that facility. She elbowed an ICE agent. That's assault of a federal officer as she tried to break into this facility, federal trespassing. Charge her. Charge her. She was not a noble member of the resistance, just as Hannah Dugan is not. She violated federal law. Quite frankly, the era of leftists thinking that they can get away with violations of law because of their politics, it's over. It is over. My one qualification for whomever Trump picks as U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Wisconsin, or Western District for that matter as well, is that they will prosecute to the fullest extent of the law violent leftists who violate federal laws. It's just that simple, because as leftists are so fond of saying, no one, regardless of their politics or their position, is above the law. No one, not even Hannah Dugan. You are listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We will be back tomorrow, 3:06 p.m. Don't miss it.